Hey, welcome back to Where's the Anarchy, a podcast for all things geeky and nerdy in nature. G'day, Adam.
G'day,
Welcome
Ivan.
back.
Thanks. It's been a while since our last episode, but we've both been busy with life and things. I've been on a holiday, and well, actually, both of us have been on holidays, and
hmm
we just thought we'd spend this episode sort of catching up on just different topics. I've got a list here to work through, and you've obviously, I know you've got some games you want to talk about, particularly one that you mentioned, I think, before I went on holiday. You mentioned Skull, so I'm interested to hear all
Absolutely,
about that.
absolutely. I've actually got a bit of news. I played some today, so of course I'll save that for that segment. But yeah, I do have a bit of news. And yes, you're right. We both came back from holidays, so yeah, a well-deserved break to
Yeah,
somewhere warmer.
yeah,
So, just in case any of you don't know, down here in the Southern Hemisphere, it's currently winter, and in Victoria, where we live, it's quite cold. So, we've both ducked away to the Northern Hemisphere for a bit of a warmth, and we're back.
we are back. So I'm. You probably can tell if you can see. I'm not too sure if I'm going to publish with video yet. We'll see. But I'm currently wearing a beanie. I got this from part of my travels in America. So New York, it was actually really cold when I went to the baseball game. Went and saw the Yankees play, and had to get this beanie there. And it's now actually become my favorite beanie, not just because it's a memento, but it's actually really comfortable. So
Oh, fantastic.
making the most of it at the moment. But well, how about we kick things off? I'd really want to hear. I'm actually like I've got a list here, but I haven't got too many. I could go as far as I've got probably two or three I'd like to talk about. But I really want to hear about Skull. So what the heck is Skull?
Brilliant. Well, so Skull. Now I think the official name is Skull uh, Tower Defense.
Is
No,
it
it's not a
Scout?
tower defense game,
I was going to say.
which makes it all the more interesting. And I think it I'm not sure if it's a French game originally. Uh,
It's an indie
oh,
indie game though,
it's
isn't it?
called yeah, it's
Yeah.
an indie game. It's called Skul The Hero Slayer. Although anytime I start mine, it has something to do with tower defense in it.
Yep.
So I'm guessing it has multiple names or sub names. So Skull is my first, I guess, dip into roguelike games.
Right.
Now, I'm not really a fan. Oh, and I didn't think I would be a fan of roguelike or roguelite games
Yep.
in the sense that they seemed really repetitive. And I guess there are a lot of you listeners out there saying, "Well, duh." Um, yes, it's essentially they're meant to be repetitive. They're meant to be you do a run, you get better. You either have stats that stack, and then you buff yourself, and you see how long you can last for a run. Which all the same to me just seem too repetitive, too boring. Just how could anybody get much enjoyment out of it? Um, that sort of gameplay, whereas there would be story progression is really what you're after, and seeing something new happen. So I bought this game, and well, because it looked really cool. Quite
Mm.
honestly, it looked really cool. It's pixel art. It's really cute.
Mm.
It and it has this like little skull boy on there, and so it it basically starts off with I think the Demon King being captured, and you're this lonely survivor, and so you're actually playing from what you would presume are normally the bad guys. The ogres, the skeleton warriors, those sort of creatures. In typical RPG, where instead you normally play as humans or as heroes, and you basically fight the hordes of darkness or evil or demon kings or whatever, like monsters basically. So the whole premise is you're playing from the monster's perspective,
Right.
and the story unravels. But the gameplay is extremely addictive.
Yeah.
Not only is it addictive, it's also very quick and clean to get into. So there's a very quick, what, again, I don't know what, professional roguelike players call their runs, but I'm just calling them runs. Is
Yep.
essentially you start the game, you start at the hub world, and of course, the good thing about these, again, I don't know the difference if this makes it a roguelite as opposed to a roguelike. I think roguelikes you don't get any buffs that stay throughout the whole thing, whereas rogue lights, and the emphasis on the light, means that you can get buffs that will you can, I guess, retain to assist you get for further runs or for further plays. So, uh, considering that potentially this might be a roguelite, the hub world has certain characters that give you, skulls. So the whole premise of this as well is that your character can swap out skulls with different abilities. So there's either, you either get a speed skull, which essentially means, it'll either be like a thief character or a rogue character with quick attack successions, very very easily damaged, but very very quick to attack, very fast, very zippy, or a strength build, slower attacks but very powerful. I think they call it a power build. And then you got like magic ones that do magic attacks and that sort of stuff. So the game itself is very in depth. They've got things that are called inscriptions because you do get little items as you go along that help buff you in different areas. So they'll either, grant an extra 20% to your physical damage or 20% to your magical damage, or grant, you an extra 25 bit of life in your life bar. It doesn't mean you get healed up to 25 life, which again is the rogue aspect of it. So, yeah.
You just have
So
that
it's
for
essentially
one time for the run.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the run essentially to you die. So yeah,
So do you?
again
Sorry to interrupt.
mhm.
Do you have a? Is there an end goal? It's like
Yes,
story wise. Yep.
yeah, which again made me enjoy it even more. There is a story to this actually.
Yep.
So the whole story here is you're this little weak skull kid thing, and your the Demon King, which is the group you're a part of, has been attacked and everything. So your whole job is to go save the Demon King from the humans. And so so you go through each sort of level and zone levels in the zone to get to a mid boss, then an end boss, and then you graduate from the end boss to a new zone, and then the same premise. You go through the levels through to a mid boss, defeat the mid boss, then you go through a few more levels to the end boss, defeat the end boss, go to a new zone, and again, being really really succinct, being really quick with this.
Yep.
um, there is a lot in it because there is this Spider Woman who you do save, I think, in one of your first runs, who upgrades your skulls. So certain skulls that you get, if you collect bones, so depending on how many bones you collect, and the rarity of the skull, so you get common, uh, I think legendary, epic, and unique, and something else. You can the price to upgrade it costs a little bit more. Some can't be upgraded because they're just the ultimate skull. Um, so if you start with a common skull, it requires 10 bones to upgrade to the next level, which means like you get a little bit more powerful attack, I think, and it sort of upgrades, and you see the change on the character. It looks really cool. And then you are then then 30 from there to go to the next level, and then 100 from there to go to the last level.
So
Some scale.
sorry to interrupt. This the skulls. So I may have missed. How do you get do you get those at the end of a run, or do you collect them along the way
Oh,
through defeating enemies, or
you collect them along the way, but not through defeating enemies. It's sort of um, now a run is what I would presume is like from start to the
to
point you
death?
die.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but but what you go through is like through a short level, and at the end there are two gateways.
Oh,
Well,
yep. Yep.
yeah, and depending on the color of the gateway, they do different things.
Yep.
So if the standard gateway is like a yellow gateway,
Yep.
which is unadorned, it's just yellow. That is just a regular, I guess, level. So you get money at the end of it.
Mm.
Is what is your reward.
Mm.
The one with green flames and skulls is a skull gateway. So you go through that gateway, and at the end you get a skull.
Gotcha.
And it's what's really cool is at the end of a skull gateway or a treasure gateway, which is a one that's adorned with like treasure chests and gold and everything at the end of the level.
Mm.
Um, and at the end of that level, you get an item which buffs you.
Yeah. For the next
So
run.
Yeah.
or
Not for the
just
next
just
run.
just for that
But
same run? Yeah.
yeah. Oh no. Yeah. So anything you collect, you stay with until you die.
Yep.
So every level you go through, it's sort of yeah.
But do you
So
get like at the end of the run, you get still something that you can? Is it the money you can use to spend to upgrade a
uh,
particular stat, or have an item with it you start with, or?
not so much the money. And I'll get that get to that in a moment. But I do want to bring up this point
Yep.
is what's really really cool and I really love it and it's enjoyable to see is that depending on the rarity of the item and or skull, at the end of the the corresponding gateways, you will see a pile like you'll see the end of the level. You'll basically notice it. It'll have like two gateways at the end after you've defeated all the enemies,
Mm.
and then like your reward will appear. But if it's a really legendary skull, it'll have like this pile of skulls and like this like crucifix looking thing, or like and it'll be gigantic. And so just by looking at that, you immediately know you're going to get like a unique or legendary skull. Like it's a very rare skull that you're going to get. If the pile is smaller, its rarity is less. If it's just like one skull on there, it's just a common skull.
Yep.
So it doesn't yeah. And the same with the treasure. Like depending on the type of treasure chest you see, there'll either be like a basic sort of Zelda type treasure chest, wooden one and whatever. That's just a basic one. The next one I think is blue, and the next one is more adorned and more colorful, and it's really cool.
Mm.
But to get to your point, um, through each level and each run, and I guess boss levels as well. Excuse me. Um, you get black quartz or dark quartz, which is essentially kind of like your bigger currency for the level, or for the game itself. Sorry.
Yep. Yep.
So that currency is what you can use in the hub world when you talk to a specific NPC character to upgrade certain stats. So
There
like,
we go.
and then and those stats stay with you throughout. And I guess that's what
Yeah.
makes it a roguelite as opposed to a roguelike.
Mm.
And those stats do stay with you. But the other thing as well is, and what makes it more interesting is you do save, more comrades throughout,
Oh yeah.
yeah, throughout each sort of zone.
Yep.
You rescue more comrades who then give you more stuff at the beginning. So you're no longer
So,
having to go
mm.
through each bit to, to actually get rarer stuff. And there is a 2 points in each zone. There is a bit where you do get to go to another hub world, semi hub world, where it's like a market. So there's like a
Mm.
chef ogre, and he sells food, which gives you a lot of life back, or a certain percentage of life back. There's this other hooded character that sells a bunch of items, which again, if you've collected money, you can buy as many items as your money allows
Yep.
in order to buff yourself. There's another like four-armed blue giant dude who sells this other thing. So
So an eclectic cast of
you're
people.
oh yeah, no, it's fantastic. It's fantasy. It's gorgeous. It looks stunning.
Yeah, they
Um,
saw the. I don't know if it saw before it popped up, and I'm not sure if it came through on the feed, but I just had a quick look at the Steam page, and yeah, I love the pixel artwork. It looks fantastic.
oh, it is. It's top quality.
Yeah.
Um, and so this guy sells what he calls quintessence.
Mm.
I'll go into details what those are. And then there's another bit like in the middle, which is this scarecrow looking guy without a head, and he's like, "Oh, hey, look, I found this skull. Do you want to swap and give me your skull?" And then like after you swap, he's wearing your skull as a head.
Oh yeah.
It's like it's another way to get like a skull with like another your rarity and another skill set of abilities if the ones you've picked up so far aren't to your liking.
Yeah.
If you
Okay.
yeah,
Yep. Yep.
and
Yep.
then there's this other like ninja looking dude who's kind of shady who sells like really rare stuff, but you have to spend your dark quartz, which essentially your dark quartz are more for leveling up your base stats in order to
Oh yeah.
actually
Yeah.
survive
Yeah.
longer.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah. There's a
As
lot. There's
opposed
a
to like
lot.
spending.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
there's just a lot. I mean, they're all. It all sounds quite familiar because I have played. So I can't remember if I told you actually, but I played Hades. I finally got around to. I picked up
Oh,
Hades because I wanted like something cool to try it on my Steam
everyone
Deck.
tells me I should.
Yeah, I just don't think I'm into roguelites. It's well designed, it's gorgeous, awesome voice acting, awesome images, and that.
Mhm.
It's basically this way you're explaining to me how Skull is. It's very similar in terms of your upgrade paths, and it's got a story. Obviously, you're trying to get out of hell, get away from your father, and get up to the surface level and whatnot. But I gave it a good run. I probably played about 6 hours of the game, but I just got bored. It's just not. I think big part for me is like while you're speaking about this is probably going to be my next question after this. But for me, it's uh the moment to moment gameplay has to be good enough, and I just don't find the combat good in Hades. I just find it boring. It's very one note, and I really like one thing I love about Elden Ring is because of the combat's fantastic, and
Mhm. Mhm.
Ghost of Tsushima, I've finished that recently. That's awesome combat. That carried that game for me because otherwise I would have got the typical open world fatigue towards the end. Getting off the topic, but I'm thinking I reckon I would actually really enjoy a roguelite if the core combat was excellent, and I'll probably need that's what my journey needs to be is searching for one because which is what leads me on to Skull. So it's a 2D basically action platformer, yeah, by the looks of things. So is it
Absolutely.
yeah, so it's combat. Is
Um.
it like one or two buttons for a swing and a hit, or what are the sort of combat you're looking at
No,
here?
no, no. You're definitely on it. And again, I've become addicted to it.
Mm,
Again, because it is just so quick to get into and do. Like, I can get like
quick
a couple
run.
of runs in,
Yep.
and yeah. The combat is very simplistic, but I like it. And what really varies for me, and I think even though I would enjoy Hades, I think after
Mm,
this, I don't believe Hades would have the variety that Skull has. Again, I could be 100% wrong,
mm,
but what I've seen with Skull is it depends on your skull. So there's one skull that I currently did a run with, and I got as far as I think the priest character, which is like the fourth level, which is the furthest I've ever been, which
yep.
is amazing. But it it um it was a wizard character, so I throw fireballs,
Yep.
and so again he starts out as like I think it's like a mage or something, and after 10 bones he becomes like an archmage, and then he becomes a grand master or something else. But it's not until the third upgrade that he learns another move. So essentially your buttons are um the bottom button, either X or A, to be jump.
Yep.
Sorry. Yep. And then the one on your left. Now again, I'm probably gonna use a Xbox 360
Yeah.
controller to
Yeah.
describe it,
Yeah.
because yeah, if I say X, people will think I'm talking about the Xbox 360 X, when I mean PlayStation X.
Yep.
Um, so I'll use a 360 controller. So
Yep.
A is jump,
Yep.
X is your attack.
Yep.
And again, depending on what sort of character, if you have a magic character, like if I had with the mage,
Mm,
and depending on what he's preloaded with,
yep.
because even though you might get the same skull, that skull might have slightly different stats. So he might have like his special ability might be throwing a fireball, might be exploding, might be a flame.
Right. Okay.
So,
Yep.
but because it's just a common, he starts with only one.
Mm,
Uh, so again, that is your left trigger. That's your left trigger to do that attack.
yep.
Your X button on the 360 controller, so X is just a physical attack.
Yep.
So with the with the mage character, he hits with a staff. With
Mm,
another character, he might like swing his sword or
mm,
use whatever.
yep.
Uh, then you have your B. Your B button is a dash. Now here's the difference. Um, Power skulls, so like strength build
Mm,
characters, power skulls, their dash is slower, and you can only do two
mm,
consecutively,
yep.
but it's also an attack. It's like a very light attack, so you
Mm,
can like bash through something.
yeah. Gotcha.
Whereas a speed character is three consecutive dashes, so
Yep.
you can like do it a lot more quicker. So they just like zip across the screen in quick succession.
Mm,
So, um, and again, so I mean, and again, depending on the rarity of the skull, like there's this one character, which I think you'll love. It's called the Rock and Roll Skull, and he's got like he's got this long hair,
yeah.
but and again, and the attacks are very different depending on like what type of skull, because some have mana, some don't. With the Rock and Roll Skull, he's got like this, like I think it's like audience energy meter. So, and his regular attack is just playing his guitar, so he just keeps strumming. And if you like do it long enough and the meter builds up, the rest you get joined by other band members and they just rock out.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
he also has like two. But because he's a rarer skull, he has two. He has two special abilities. So your left trigger and your right trigger do two separate things,
Yep.
whereas normally you'd only do one. Now, when you upgrade a skull, again depending on its rarity, because common are cheaper to upgrade as opposed to like rarer skulls or unique skulls. And I think legendary you can't upgrade because they're the ultimate skull it can be. Um, so when you upgrade it like the third time, I think it's like 30 bones. Um, you get what's it called? You get a second attack
Yeah.
in
Okay.
most cases.
Yep.
So, which is again from that pool of the base attacks that you would normally get with that one skull. So you get a more variety. You get two different attacks.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, your left bumper is to swap through skulls. It's a cycle, so you only have two skulls on you at any one time.
Yep.
So again, you might have a power build and a speed build, for example.
Mm.
And you might think, oh, to get through the entire level, I'll just swap over to my speed build and just kill everything really quickly, and then get to the end. And then when
Yep.
I verse bosses, I'll do a boss, my heavy. And your right bumper is to use the quintessence. So the quintessence is essentially like another um like special, if you will. And there's different types of quintessence.
Mm.
Like there's some that turn you into a slime and make you invulnerable for like 2 seconds. There's others that summon a dragon to burn most of the stage, like a stage nuke. There are some that summon a totem. Some that like all these really cool ones, and there's some that are really rare and do really cool stuff. Um, so there's a lot of this variety.
Yeah.
And the mid boss, you don't verse the same mid boss all the time.
Yep.
It's a different mid boss.
Mm.
It's like um I think from the top of my memory, there's a guy that's like a normal hero, so he's just a guy with a sword,
Yep.
and he sort of like there's another guy that's like a heavy which has a mace, a priestess, an archer woman, a mage woman who throws fireballs, um a ninja dude. Oh, he is so rough, that ninja guy. The ninja guy
Yeah.
is just so rough. Um, but yeah, what makes it really bad is sort of in the first zone, you only verse one of them. In the second zone, you verse two of them. In the third zone, um, you verse three of them. In the fourth zone, you verse one of them, but at their true boss level. Like you're so they have much more attacks, varied attacks, and they've got like a full health bar, not just like a half health bar,
Mm.
as they would.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, there's all this like stuff to do in it,
A
and
lot of variety.
a lot of variety,
Mm.
and the levels themselves. You might walk into a regular level and just and you might zip around it pretty quickly,
Yep.
but then you might walk into this level and all of a sudden you see no enemies, and you'll be like, "What's going on?"
Yep.
And then you get to this like totem or this pedestal with an item in it, and you walk up to it and it says investigate. So you press Y. Y is to investigate, and it'll show you a path that you have to follow to get to like a blue orb to unlock this item to get it. But the path is filled with like spikes or traps, and so it's a different type of challenge in order to
Mm.
get a reward.
Mm.
In another one, you walk in and you see a uh, a bunch of giant treasure chests.
Yep.
Each treasure chest you open either has a trap or a reward,
Mm.
and there's this humongous one in the middle. So the point is you have to find the key before you either die or just leave. There's another point where you help out a bunch of guys who are, trying to defend until their boss comes from incoming hordes. So it's like a little bit of a tower defense sort of thing where
Yeah.
you kind of
Yep.
have to like, save the dudes before they get to them. Or another guy is asking you to do a little bit of a stealth mission. And throughout all that, each level has a potential to spawn somebody trapped in a cage. And some of these characters, once you free them, They'll either give you a health item, a boost for a bunch of the zones, like or an item or an extra skull, or one of them uh, is able to uh, give you a new ability. So if the
Mm.
ability you have for that skull, you're like, it's a good ability, but I don't use it. It doesn't gel with me. Like I'd rather have more of a projectile as opposed to an explosion type ability.
Yep.
You can swap it out for like
Yep.
a couple of gold or whatever. Um, there's another character as well. Like another one gives you like a health item. Another one gives you bones because again, bones is another form of currency. So you got like three types of currency. Bones are the currencies to upgrade skulls, but
Yep.
you don't get them very often, admittedly.
Yep.
Coins are your spending currency to buy stuff at the store, and the dark quartz, which are your sort of really big upgrade
For the
currency.
stat boots. So what are the coins? What can you buy with the coins?
Um, so with the coins you can buy like
Like
that
cosmetics
quintessence,
or
that orb.
oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, the quintessence, any of the other items to buff you through your
Oh
run.
okay, yeah, okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, I wasn't too sure
Health
that one thing.
items,
Yep, yep.
yeah, all health
Um,
items.
take a step back. So you said also when you're choosing through the doors. So you mentioned like one would just be money, a basic level one, and the other one would be the skull. So I'm guessing
Mm.
depending on the rarity of the skull door, and comparing to just the standard one, you're going to get like obviously tougher enemies in the one with the skull. Is that's the kind of the general,
Um,
or is it could be random?
it
You reckon?
um, well, it kind of says that in the game. It kind of does say that you will get tougher enemies.
Hmm.
I I don't uh don't
Ever come across
agree
it? Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
as much because I
Bonus.
find that the higher levels,
Yep.
or rather the higher zones, are more difficult. That because yeah, like I said, I did a pretty long run
Hmm.
this time round, and yeah, I could easily tell that the zone one guys, for example, the zone one guys, I got to the point where I was so powerful, I'd like hit one and like five of them would explode. When I
Nice.
got to the last, yeah, when I got to the last zone, I would hit one and it would take like half his health. So it took quite a bunch of hits to get them down.
Yeah. Yep.
Um,
Yeah, it's a pretty
so
standard roguelite. I mean, that's the kind of experience I had in Hades, and I think you're right. It does sound like Skull's got much more variety. Because Hades, you are sort of following. It's kind of cool how that works because, of course, every time you die, you're being born again in the I don't know what it's like a pool of blood that brings you out in front of Hades, and he just says to you, you know, like, "Oh, you're back, whatever, son. Get back to doing your duties or whatever." And you've got different characters that will appear in the sort of the lobby area. They give you different
yep,
items and whatnot as you go along, and then they will also. Did you just message me?
yes, I just sent you sort of what
Did
the
that come
gateways
through?
look like.
Oh,
I'm
there we go. The
hoping.
text channel. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So
Sweet. There you go. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
so the one on the left is like the treasure
Yep.
thing. So there you get an item. The one on the right is just a regular one, and of course you get the thing at the on the side, which is like a dummy. Which I'm like, what are these things for? Because the one thing I will say, it doesn't do a really good job at explaining certain things in
Mm,
detail. You
mm.
kind of do have to figure out what you're doing in a little bit. Um, that one has a picture of the spider lady who, when you save, upgrades the skulls. Um, and um, this is sort of the image of like the store that you get to like halfway through a run, and where you can buy items and stuff
Yeah.
and all things.
Yeah, so it does look very similar. But yeah, I mean, the yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I mean, I don't know how polished this game is, but I mean, you know, obviously playing Hades, it's got a lot of polish to it and very well loved. Same sort of thing. Like you go through, you usually have at the start, you'll after the sort of the safe area, you go through to like the back of your room and you can choose one of your weapons from there. So you got obviously close range. Long range is like a bow. There's one is I think one of them is a shield or something, and then you jump out and to a run, and you eventually get to a boss, sort of midway boss, and that's like I think it's but they're the same bosses, so that kind of you got. Yeah, you do sort of have mini bosses as well. Depends. It does change, but as you go through the story, but you'll typically fight a major boss, which is I think I can't remember the name of the lady. There's one lady you fight. She's a bit of a fun boss, actually. Like here's me complaining about the combat, but she was actually a fun character to fight. But you fight her, and then you end up seeing her back in the lobby area when you die again, and I'll get you next time, blah 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 blah. But then she might give you something, and then you can go to a bar and spend your points there, and so it evolves like as you go along the story. Different people reach out to you from above, that are trying to give you a hand, and it sounds very similar to what you've been explaining to me. And you get different, I can't remember the names, but you get similar things like your skulls. You get similar things like the quintessence. You get that sort of stuff that as the game further progresses. So you're constantly getting new stuff. I just, like I said, the actual moment-to-moment gameplay, I just got bored of the combat. It just wasn't interesting to me, so I gave it away. But I've also played, like, Hollow Knight. That didn't gel with me. I just didn't like the aesthetic as well. It was very bland and boring. And then the other one, recent one, which I'm going to probably go back to and play, is God of War Valhalla. So they've released a roguelite with that, but that's actually got a lot of story stuff that connects back into Kratos' past. And I've played all the God of War games, so I kind of want to see that just for the story elements. But I played a little bit of that, and I see what they mean by being a roguelite, and I was like, I was a bit. That's okay because God of War's got better combat. I preferred, I like the combat in that, but I'm also, at the time I was busy, so I'll put it down, and I'll probably come back to it. But yeah.
Well, with this, I mean, the combat can be very nuanced, and at the same time, it could be very simple. So, and I guess what really is interesting about this is that because after you save one character in, I think, the first zone, in the hub world you get one free skull, and then you pay for another one, so you get two skulls you can start with. And again, you might trash both of them because they might just be really crap, or you might keep one of them. Your base skull, who the titular character is very basic. Like, you can't level him up, you can't do much with him. He's very, very much just like swing and bash, and he's only got like one special teleportation sort of move, whereas the other skulls have a bit more to them. So again, you might just get really stuck with a particular play style, which does make it interesting because you do have to evolve. Or you might be like, oh, I hate this play style, I need to go find a skull as soon as possible. So like you go through, and again, the end gates, they randomize, so it depends which is which. So like you might get to the end of the that level for that zone, for one level of the zone, and or stage, I guess, and only one gateway might be open, and it might just be the basic gateway, or it might be two of them, like the basic and treasure one.
Yeah, same in Hades.
So,
yep.
Yeah. So you're kind of forced. And the main boss is always the same at the end. The mid boss does change a little bit because again, the
Right. Okay.
variations.
Yeah. Well, then same thing as Hades. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, look, it can be as simple as button mashing, depending on what style and gameplay, or it can be very calculative. Where, like, again, with the mage I was playing, because his attacks aren't that strong at first, but his fireball is immensely strong. But he's only got limited mana.
Okay.
Mana that does regenerate. So you kind of have to stay back a little bit and sort of like plan your fireballs. Whereas with other characters, you can just dive in and just button mash and really, and also you do get frames of invulnerability with your dash.
Yep.
So
come in handy.
Yeah, it does come in handy, and it's really fun. And you do get a double jump, which is really great double jump.
Good old double jump, one of the greatest things to get in the action platforming. How far are you into it? Have you got near the end, or you still got a way to go, you think?
I think I might have like one zone left after the run I did today. Like I said, got up to, so before I'd always get up to the second zone. I never get up to the boss there because again, I would always die during the second mid boss fight because it's two guys against you, and by that point, my life was already half dwindled. That's the one thing, you don't get a lot of health back. You don't always get a whole lot of health back.
Yeah.
So yeah, you kind of have to really be careful with how you manage your health. And even if you like get a something to like eat from the marketplace, you might encounter the marketplace like 3-4 stages before you meet the boss, or like 2 stages before you meet the boss, and you're like, well, my health has gone back down to half, so but this is the other thing as well. I guess my biggest complaint with Skull, and I don't know if it's lack of polish or what, but one of my issues was that you do so all these items that you get, they have like an additional, not an additional, well, they do have an additional buffs, but they've got like an active buff and then passive buffs as well, which the passive buffs are called inscriptions, which you can kind of link together with other ones with same inscriptions to actually get a better passive buff.
Mm.
And the thing is they don't describe what each inscription does or stands for,
Oh, that's frustrating.
unless yeah,
So it's a
you have
guess.
to kind of like no, you kind of have to dig for it. So like when you get an item,
Yeah,
like, you know, like most games, right? Like you get an item
you get a
and it
description.
tells you a little.
Yeah.
You get a description, which like you know maybe a little paragraph, you
Yep.
know, like you know the warrior shield once the shield of once powerful warrior.
Yeah, and then it might give
Uh,
a +1 or 2, blah blah blah, down at the bottom.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But with this, it has like an additional sort of hold down on the D-pad or like right trigger to
Mm.
read more, and then it's like and then it goes into detail describing the inscriptions, which then themselves are like 3 or 4 paragraphs long. It's like, you
But the
know,
but the
once you
information's
have
in there.
two,
It's like you have to read through it all to get to it. Is that what you mean? Like,
yeah,
and it's too
it is
much.
that.
Yeah, gotcha.
It's just
Yep.
it's too much
Yep.
because the game is so fast paced. It
Yep.
is so fast paced that you're kind of really energized. I mean,
Yeah.
look, yeah, it's fun. It's great. So I did a bit of research last night and like, all right, what inscription should I actually be going for? Like, what do they actually stand for? Did a bit of reading, like, oh, there's actually one that kind of gives you life back, or at least gives you the ability to get life back.
Yeah.
It's called the Revenge inscription,
Yep.
but you need to kind of have like 2 items at minimum to kind of see the buff, and then another 4 items to get like a better version of that buff,
Mm.
which all have inscriptions. And I think you can only carry at 1.9 items.
Mm.
So you kind of have to be very selective.
About
Oh,
what you're doing.
and
Yep.
another, yeah, and another awesome thing about that is you have these little characters which are so cool. They're like little spirits.
Mm.
Um, and the way it works is they do damage over time to characters at random.
Yep.
So like there's a lot of items like that which are so great. Like the one of them is like a death spirit. So it's like this little character that you'll see like a little winged pixel thing that flies behind you
Mm.
and like very tiny, but like every 5 seconds it will at random do an attack on somebody. And they do come in handy because like I mean you could be like standing underneath a character and you can just let him kill the character for you. Just like wait there for like 10 seconds and it'll
Yeah.
just
Nice.
slice
Yeah.
them.
Let him do its
Yeah,
thing.
and
Yeah. Yeah. That's
yeah.
cool.
So yeah, there's a couple of that. There's also a bunch of items that when you dash away, either shoot arrows at random characters or
Mm.
will slice a character every 30 seconds or will freeze a character in place or stun a
Yeah.
character.
Yep.
So yeah, look,
So that's cool. It
I'm in
sounds,
love with it.
yeah, it sounds like you're having a blast. And I mean, that it sounds like it's just to find the one that you're after. Because you said this is the first roguelite you've played?
My first one
Yeah.
because
So maybe you,
yeah,
you might be a fan of the genre. See, I'm now
I
on my
think I
third
might.
one, and I'm like I'm not really finding anything yet. Like I want to try. I'm really curious about that Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown that came out in February. That's got really good reviews. That look really cool.
Mm.
So I'm thinking that might be the next one I have a crack at. I might even look at this one. But
What
I might.
about Dead Cells?
Oh, sorry, I have tried Dead Cells. Yeah, so I tried that on
Mm.
I got Game Pass, so I tried that and immediately like I spent 5 minutes. I'm like, this is definitely not for me. So I may just not be into the genre, but I'm going to keep trying, and I think I need to have a break. Like, I probably won't play another rogue. Like, maybe I'll try Valhalla, but even then, I'm like, maybe not. But I think I'm into another swing on games. So, was there anything you wanted else to
Oh,
say about that? Or should I talk about
I'll say when you do come over, look, I'll put it on. You can do a quick run and then just and
give it a go?
test
Yeah,
it out. Yeah, I mean, because like I said, quite frankly, the combat it can be as simple as button
actually,
mashing or nuanced as timed.
We should look at the
It's fantastic.
We should look at doing a friends account, like adding you as a family member, see on Steam,
We
because
should
you could share games, share
actually,
libraries.
yeah.
We should
No,
look
no.
at that.
Can we do that? I mean, because that
Yeah,
way, yeah, I can hand over a bunch that I think will be great. Yeah.
yeah, that'd be great.
Um.
That's a good idea. But yeah, we'll look at
Um.
that obviously later. But
Yeah. Look, I do have one other topic, but again, if
yeah,
we
I
get
might
time to it,
go back
we'll
and
talk
forth.
about it.
Yeah, so
Yeah, yeah.
I'll talk about mine.
Um. Please, yeah.
So speaking of fast paced games, I just finished Doom 2016 about a day or two ago. So I
Mhm.
it's funny, like Doom. Have you played Doom, the remake, or
Um.
any of the good Doom games?
I love how you put that.
Yeah, there's a
I
lot of them.
played the original. I played the original like as a kid, maybe like younger than Angel.
Mm,
And I don't. And it's one of those memories where I'm like, somebody had a computer. I was fascinated. I saw Doom. I remember blue, red, and green keys. I
yep,
remember
using the
it. I don't
keyboard
remember
rather
the
than no mouse.
music. Yeah,
Yeah,
keyboard rather than a mouse.
yep,
Like it's in the
yeah,
recesses of my memory.
yep,
I haven't played the 2016 one yet. I am looking forward to it. It looks amazing. It looks
yeah,
like there's a story behind it, which is just so much fun. And in
yeah.
saying that, I was going to message you. There is a new Doom coming out, which is like a
Yeah. Oh
medieval
my god, that
style
looks
one.
so good. I just did you sort of showcase because I was of what one
Hmm.
topic I wanted to broach. If you did you see the Xbox showcase? And I think it was at the Summer Games Fest showcase or the Xbox showcase. I can't remember which one it was shown at. One of
Oh,
those. But
I wouldn't know. No,
oh,
it came up on my YouTube feed, and I
oh,
was just
I
like, oh,
see.
what is
Okay,
this?
yeah, yeah. No, I've watched the I'm a big whenever the game shows, like I'm looking forward to Gamescom in August. They show that in Germany, and then the obviously the Game Awards later in the year. But when that's on, I usually tune into the streams or the reaction streams from some of the podcasts I watch or listen to and see what's going on there. And I watched that, and I saw Doom: The Dark Ages just after I'd finished. Well, not when I was towards the end of Doom, and I'm like, this looks amazing. Like it's exactly the like now that I've played Doom. So yeah,
Mhm.
so I mean, I'm the same as you. I played Doom, the original, back when I was a kid. Played Doom 2 when I was a kid. Played Doom 3. So Doom 3 was, it might have been like 2008-ish. It was in the 2000s. That was really, from memory, that was really scary. That was like a horror game. And that was cool. I don't really remember too much of it. I just remember it being fun. And then, of course, Doom 2016 came out. And around that time, I don't know what was going on. I might have had some personal stuff going on, so I don't think I just got around to playing it. And then, the Switch came out, Zelda, blah blah blah, heaps of other games came out. And I just kept going and going and going. And it's not until recently that there's actually been a bit of a lull, and I've gone, oh, what am I going to play? And then Doom popped up on special for something like $8, and I was like, okay, got to.
Oh wow.
This is a sign. I got to jump in and grab this. And might have even been. I don't know. I can't remember if I got Doom Eternal separate. I can't quite remember, but anyway, I had Doom Eternal in my library first, which is weird, and then I got Doom 2016. So I jumped into this and immediately loved it. And I think I may have talked to you about it, saying that it's so relieving. Yeah, I was too on the phone. I was telling you, it's so great to
Mhm.
jump into some of these games that just get gaming. Like, here you go, they just chuck you into the
Absolutely.
world and off you go. You figure it out. So the mark to me of a good first person shooter in almost any other game, but especially first person shooters, I don't really have the patience for like big story cutscenes. So it's like, get me in and play the game. And that's a great thing about Doom. You just pretty much hit start, then there's like a little mini sort of a thing that goes on for like half a minute, and then bang, you're out. You've been risen from you're in like a what do you call it, a coffin, and you come out of that in this Mars center. You're like, what the fuck's going on? And then the game takes you through story bits where you'll have characters, on your HUD bringing up, speaking to you, or over the loudspeakers speaking to you, taking you through the story basically. And it's brilliant. It's just a good old point and shoot. You obviously start off with the pistol, and that's fine. But then the best moment in any Doom game is getting the shotty, so you get that pretty quick. And then it's great. And I was playing it on easy, and I'm thinking about going through it again on the next one up, next difficulty up, because I breezed through the game. But I'm kind of relieved I did that because it's very fast paced. Like you're not meant to be standing there and planning out your routes. Like when I play my shooters, like Battlefield's the one I go back to. I was playing that earlier today. But in Battlefield, it probably rewards you being a bit more strategic and slow paced, thinking about all your moves. Whereas Doom is very much not the way. Just go in, guns are blazing, jump around the room as much as you can, the way they've laid out the levels are like they're kind of like your classic old school sort of shooters, like arena sort of shooters. Like you'll go to an area, then demons will start spawning, and you've sort of got this like you're blocked off. Like you'll have like locked doors, which of course you need either a blue, a red, or a green key, that sort of thing, or a yellow key. And then they've got like ammo, and then ammo, armor, health, and then they'll have like a special orb in the middle, which will be something like an upgrade for that particular fight. So yeah, you basically the whole point of the design is to encourage you to move around the field as much as you can and picking up all your weapons and just non-stop blasting. Like you're barely a moment when you're not shooting. And it's so much fun. It took me back to being, when first person shooters came out, playing Quake and Doom, just playing the original Doom. It's so much fun. You just run around blasting everything and demons in their face, and you got these gory kills. So you can, after you shoot them, they'll have like a stagger range. So you'll shoot maybe the standard sort of imps of the game, which is one of the first enemies you fight. You might shoot them twice with the shotgun, and they start flashing orange. And then when you get up to them, if they flash blue, that means you can hit them with your glory kill, which is R3 on the stick of the controller. So you do that, and the Doom guy will go up and just like tear their head up, or you'll stand on their face, or depending on which angle you're at. And the great thing about the game too is it's achievements are based off like playing with that style of gameplay. So get gory kill from above. Well, maybe shoot this guy, then go down here. Like it depends on what it is, like chaining attacks and killing enemies in certain ways, using this sort of gun, this style, taking out, 10 enemies with one grenade, that sort of stuff. So it really encourages you just being like this absolute balls to the wall, crazy sort of super shooter.
No, look, I love it. And I think a lot of them have, or rather the new, what's the word, colloquialism for it, or the name for it is sort of the boomer shooter, where it's like no longer like a lot of cut screens or what's the word, story elements. It's just jump in, shoot and kill. And you're right, I agree with you. That's
why I go back to like my favorite first person shooter with a story has been Half-Life 2, because there's sort of cutscenes, but it's playing out around you. It's not like you can see Gordon Freeman and it follows people around. It's you're there and you still kind of have control. It's like it's happening out in front of you, and that's from start to finish. That's what I love about Half-Life 2, and it also helps with the immersion, I find, because you are there through the whole thing. When one of those stalkers or the walkers, whatever they're called, that come past you in Half-Life 2, you're actually watching the thing, even though you're not, moving around the space. You're frozen in space, but you can still, move your mouse around to watch the thing, and it looks so cool. You're just there. This is awesome. And, I'm trying to think, there's not too many first-person shooters that I've played that would have the traditional cutscenes, but whenever I have played them, I usually nope out pretty quick because I'm just bored. And that's got me a little bit concerned about Doom Eternal, because I was listening to reviews after finishing that and going back to some of the coverage and learning maybe a bit about story and whatnot like that. And Doom Eternal's got a bit of that. It's a bit more cutscene heavy, and I'm a bit like, we'll see how we go. But it's meant to be still really good. But back to Doom, story-wise, it's straightforward. It's the classic mad person wants to open the gates of hell into the world. Basically, you need to go through to hell to shut it down, and then there's double crosses. There's all that sort of stuff going on. It's run of the mill. Like it's almost like the Save the Princess type in Mario. It's like you just need something to get to where you're going, and that's fine.
Like you said it. I mean, so sorry to interrupt, but you said it. What I think a lot is missing. A lot of things are missing. What we've forgotten, and the John Wick movies kind of gave us a taste of it, but what I miss is Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone style action films, and that's what that is. Like going back to that core. I don't need, a in-depth plot. I want to switch off my brain for a moment and kind of play an action movie, like, action movie star, basically. Yeah. And it sounds exactly like that's what you're doing. Yeah. And that's fantastic because, look, as a dad that's almost 40 years old, my time is short. Like we were discussing before this, about me eventually purchasing, a handheld PC, something like a Steam Deck or whatever. Yep. But and we're talking about battery life an hour. Yeah, an hour is more than enough for me
Mm.
because that is all probably I would be able to get done
Yeah.
before bed
Yep.
or
Little downtime you
while
have.
yeah and I look, don't get me wrong, one day I will play through the Metal Gear Solid series
Oh
like from
yeah.
start to finish,
Yeah.
but I don't want to sit there for about 30 minutes
Yeah.
in a cutscene before I can even do something for about 2 minutes to then sit through another 30
That's
minute cutscene.
that's Metal Gear Solid 4. That was almost me. That almost broke me because I'm a Metal Gear Solid fan, but Metal Gear Solid 4 I haven't gone back to since I played it that first time. It was like Jesus Christ, that was a struggle. But the other games are still more than other games, more cutscene heavy, but and I don't know how to stand up these days for a new player. Like I so cannot wait for that Metal Gear Solid 3 remake, that Delta. They showed
Mm-hmm.
that trailer. Oh, I cannot wait to play that because it's one of my favorite games of all time. And I'll be right there for every cutscene. I'll be probably getting chills and remembering different things from my childhood again. But I'm completely with you. And the beauty is for Doom, I think you'll love Doom because it is pick up and play, especially if you do end up getting a handheld PC because it's you can have like your Bluetooth speakers on. Like
Mm-hmm.
I play with that, and I said I play with the Steam Deck. So I was playing on the train, getting over to Melbourne and back, and quick sessions on that's great. I could get through a level or two in it. And then with sleep, of course, it means I can just pick straight up from where I left off.
Brilliant.
And the other thing's the soundtrack I've got to talk about because it's pretty relatively famous soundtrack for it because it was just because it was so heavy, like different for a first person shooter up until then. It's basically just this really heavy metal, soundtrack, and it's just awesome because you just run around shooting all these demons. You got the chainsaw out, you just got this roar, it's this big heavy metal playing while you're doing it. It makes you feel like such a badass. And of course, Doom Guy doesn't say a word, doesn't say a peep. You can get more like story from. Like you get these, I think they're called the Helix. Well, there's the Helix Stone, which tells us a bit of the story about the Doomslayer, but then there's more sort of stones you can get once you go to hell, and it talks you through the different lore. I didn't spend too much time on it because I was having too much fun just running around blasting demons in the face, but they do have voiceovers, and there's like a demon that tells you, and he's got the big voice. It's pretty cool how that happens. The boss fights I really like. It's like I really like it when video games don't. Again, this is much more of a video game first than less of experience. Some games can get a bit too. Metal Gear is actually guilty of that at times. It can have some bosses that are very story focused, so they're not that interesting. You just like bang, 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 shoot it, and you're done. Whereas this was the boss fights had some thought into them. Like you're very basic. You just shoot things, but still. The bosses themselves will have like an attack that you need to jump over, and then ones that you need to duck, and then ones that you need to jump on a platform, and then something will happen, and you have to get off the platform, and you see, it telegraphs an attack, and you've got a little bit more strategy when you're fighting the bosses, and I really appreciate they did that because it made the boss fights fun and memorable.
Well, in saying that, and look, this is something again discussing geek culture, video game culture, and how it evolves and changes. Um, One of the things that I think that a lot of people are doing, or a lot of game designers are doing, or for a while they were doing it anyway, is trying to make everything Souls-like, like with bosses being almost really, really difficult to beat. That there was like, oh, just accept you're gonna die. I miss the times that, yeah, you're right. Look, a boss fight can be simple as, like you said, jump, duck, roll, and you have like a small window to attack them. Fantastic. That works. It's not complex in like, a Dark Souls style, you know, a character. What's it called? Like what character would I say is probably one of the more difficult ones? Um, like a Capra demon, where you like, you only get like one opening, and if you don't achieve that opening, you miss out, and then you have to like, reposition yourself, and it can only really be from that position, and you have to do a certain attack. You know what? Like again with Skull, um, the bosses themselves, the first zone level boss, quite simple. The second one, a little bit harder, admittedly, a little bit harder. The third one was a bit more simple, but it varied. It was
Mm.
very different types of attack. Where yeah, there was a section where I had to like sort of stand there. To be honest, I found that with the second and third boss, I got more opportunities to stand there and actually sort of catch my breath, reposition myself, or do something. And but it made it so enjoyable. It wasn't frustrating
Mm.
because anything that I knew that it was going to be my mistake. Whereas, some of those bosses, like and again, I'm only using Soul series because, again, everyone sort of jumped on that Soul bandwagon, and then all these other indie titles ended up doing these Soul style bosses,
Mm,
like 2D stuff, where it was like almost impossible to beat.
mm,
That was like, no, you have to and it was like, you don't need something that difficult. You don't need something that intense, like to make it enjoyable.
mm.
A simple, patented boss where it's like a Crash style boss, where it's like, oh, okay, phase one he does this pattern. Oh, okay, so I just got to keep jumping over, and find my opening, and then phase two, when you get him halfway down, oh, he's now adding something else into the mix. Oh, all right, cool, cool. It makes it much more enjoyable, way more fun. Um,
Yeah, and I think
and
that
that's the other thing.
they're out there. Those sort of games are out there. It's just that the Souls-like games have really exploded in popularity. Like they seem to be the
Mhm.
go to at the moment. And I mean, there was another one that was in that one of the Summer Games Fest showcases, some Italian Souls-like, and people are still playing them. Like people love them for that challenge. I'm just someone. Well, I mean, after Elden Ring, who knows? I've been considering going back through trying Dark Souls again because I mean, I fell in love with Elden Ring. And speaking of, God, it's next Friday, Shadow of the Erd Tree. I'm starting a
Yep.
new budget, so I don't know if won't go into too much detail here because it's more of a public
Mm.
forum. But I'm going to need to move out of the house I'm in at some point in the next 6 to 12 months. So I'm going to
Mhm.
start
Mhm.
saving up for a deposit for a house, and now means I'm going to budget things. So I'm going to be much less, probably going to not be buying as many games, going back through my old catalog because I do have a lot in Steam library and what have you. But one of the ones I purchased before I made that decision, I pre-ordered about 2 months ago or whenever when it was available to pre-order was Shadow of the Erd Tree, and that's I cannot wait because the previews I didn't watch any of them because I didn't want to be spoiled because Elden Ring's one of those games that it's great for that discovery. It's a great game for discovery, and but I've just been listening to some of the previews and it sounds amazing. So I cannot wait for that. But
It,
yeah,
it,
like yeah,
it sounds fantastic.
Souls is big for that. Like people are loving that. But yeah, the more simple stuff like there's that there was that other one, that Sonic team developer Christian Whitehead. Penny's Big Breakaway that came out not too long ago. An action platformer that
Mhm.
looked pretty cool, like had simple sort of gameplay to it. There's that Hat in Time. It's meant to be similar. I think they're out there. It's just have to find them. But Doom was a surprise to me because I just expected more of just shooting demons in the face. When you got to the bosses, it's like, oh, there's a little bit of thought put to this, and it's like your
Fantastic.
classic like basic patterns, but they were fun to fight. So yeah, highly recommend Doom.
Fantastic. Yeah. No, definitely will be jumping onto that. Like it's on the list. I think I did pick it up as well when it was the last sale. Like so, it's in the library.
Mm,
But I know I was going to say two things before I go on to a question I have for you.
mm.
One is definitely let's do that. Let's figure out an account or something that we can do to share either the family thing, so that way we can especially if you're going on a budget. I know I'm already on a budget. Hey, married with kids. So
Yeah,
yeah, look forward to this, gamers.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So no, I think it will be beneficial. I mean, and we can have something that we can both sort of look at, like a game that we can both look at and discuss for like future stuff as well. Um, but also do let me know when the game stuff does occur, because I'll be more than happy to sort of do a review or an after talk after watching the Game Awards and whatever, and getting your opinions on
oh yeah,
your
yeah.
thoughts.
It's a good
No,
idea.
look, I think
Mm,
that might be fantastic for a topic for one of the shows.
mm.
So
And we can
the
still
question I
do
have
that.
for you.
We could still, sorry, go back there. You could still, if you wanted to
Mm,
do that particular one for our next podcast episode, we could do a bit of a review of that. If you want to, the next time we
fantastic.
catch up, do you watch it? I'll probably rewatch it again just to get myself acquainted with it. But
Yes,
I
please. Yeah.
highly recommend the Xbox Showcase. It is one of the best showcases they've done. Like I think throughout their history, it's incredible. That's fantastic.
No, absolutely. I'm so out of the loop, I guess. 'Cause,
Mm.
again, like everyday life.
Yeah.
But they're definitely put it in the books. I mean, yeah, absolutely. That
Yeah.
sounds
Cool.
fantastic to me. So here's my question for you.
Mm.
Um, I'm just trying to think of how to pose it.
Why do you hate me?
Um, why do you hate me?
Yeah. No.
um, w- how do you feel about easy mode or baby mode
Oh, I'm fine
in
with it.
games?
Yeah, fine with it because that's what I did with when I had
Mm-hmm.
that conundrum
Mm-hmm.
with Doom. I was like, do I go through on not like normal or hard? Because sometimes these games are really fun like that anyway, and the games kind of can be designed around that. But I realized, I just wanted to, dip my toe in to see what it's like, and I'm kind of glad I did easy. I think I may have got frustrated if I was forcing myself to do hard because there's a lot going on in the game. So I generally speaking, like, if it's a game like Zelda, because this is where it gets complex, right? Like, Zelda doesn't have a difficulty. There's no way to choose that. You just jump into the game and play it. But they've carefully designed the game to be approachable, and it ramps up in difficulty over time until you get to the end, and then it's tough. And that's great game design, but it's not for everyone. There were people, I guarantee you, that will hate Zelda because of that, because they can't choose an easy mode and they can't get to the final boss because it's too hard for them. And that's it. But I mean, I'm not like one of these people that's going to be elitist and go, oh, you played, like if someone said to me, like, if, not you would ever do it, but if you said to me, oh, played on easy, that's not really playing Doom. I'm like, well, the developers chucked it in there, so they thought it was, that's the way they've designed it. So I'm not too phased by it, but the arguments about you shouldn't play a game on this and that or the other is ridiculous. And then I can also go to bat for people that say like Zelda should have an easy mode. I'm like, yeah, well, fair enough. If you want to continue playing it, but you can't get past a certain area, I'm not going to go get good. I'm like, yeah, maybe it's an oversight by the developer. I know it's very fence city, but that's kind of where I sit on it.
No. Look, you know what? I'm with you on that. No, fantastic. Because like yourself, and again, anyone who is listening, please do let us know in the comments your stance on this and how you feel, or if you've had this conversation as well with your friends or peers. I did have a colleague, / friend who I knew for a long time that if you bet a game on easy mode, it wasn't beating the game. If you use certain items on certain bosses, you weren't really as good a gamer as you thought you were, because you were using. And it took me a long time, and I can't remember who it was, turned around and said, you know what? Developers are putting this in there. So it's like it's a function of the game. You're playing within the rules of the game. Like, if you're using a buff for a boss, it's intended for you to beat that boss. Like, if you beat the boss without the buff, good on you, fantastic.
Case in point, the argument is Elden Ring. Elden Ring, you would have heard of what are they called? I've gone blank. I think they're called tears, ashes, ash tears. Oh, okay, yeah, I can't quite remember. But anyway, they've got you can ding this little bell in the game, and a buddy will come and help you out. It's not like a human; it's an AI controlled character. And the most strongest one in the game is the mimic tier, which is basically just copies your character, and you've got another one of you running around helping you fight the boss. I use that through the entire game because I just get absolutely wiped. Like, I still died heaps and heaps like you do in a Souls game, but it made it fun because I got to, like, all right, I'll let my little character be a punching bag while I try and figure out a strategy around here to try and attack him from the back. It'd still turn around and like whomp me a few times, but at least I have a fighting chance. And yeah, and of course, like, people are going like, you haven't beaten the game properly because you're doing it with a mimic tier. And I'm like, well, even Miyazaki himself come out and said we put that in there because we've known that people have found our games hard before, and this is sort of try to help them along a bit. It's like, great, I love it. I'm going to be using the mimic tier as well on some playing the DLC, because that, no doubt from the history of what people have said with FromSoft DLCs, it gets even harder in those. So yeah.
and again, and just as a reminder, like, to a lot of our listeners out there, we're from the generation where there are a lot of what they call coin eater arcade machines, where they were just difficult for the sake of being difficult to make more money. Like, oh goodness, they're off the top of my head. What was one really tough arcade?
Oh, they've all got built in the way they're designed to basically to make you lose. Like, there's that Daytona USA. You can run have a perfect run, but you'll always just miss out before you hit the line, your points, and then feed in more money. You've got the you got that Sega game that was an arcade, the shooter, the on rail shooter.
House of the Dead.
Oh, it was House of the Dead. Yep. Yeah, that actually probably was the one I was thinking. Yeah, Sega. So I was thinking it was a Sega one. And then there's that other shooting one where you kind of like the snipers,
Virtual Cop.
Virtual Cop. That's it. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, you're right. Cop. Yeah. So there's those, and they're always they get to a certain point where they're just ridiculously difficult. But even before, I'd argue, like, we were probably came in a little bit after that when the game started getting a bit easier. But even then, like, even Super Nintendo, Nintendo game, Sega games, that was still tough. Like, you had your Contras, you had Sonic, even at some point was tough. Like, games did get a bit easier probably around the GameCube era, PS2. They started to, put in more tutorials, more hand-holding and whatnot.
And again, it was because game culture back then was very much, you'd get a cartridge with a very limited amount of information and memory on it, and they had to make the game last. Which again, there is, I guess, through a lot of the Soul series, it was that nostalgia to have that sort of, oh, these were really tough, just in a new sort of, coat of paint. So, to all our listeners out there, you know what? You paid for the game, enjoy it any way you can. There's no shame in playing through something on easy mode just because you want to enjoy the story. And if anybody tells you otherwise, they're just gatekeeping.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
just immature. Yeah,
absolutely. There's this. I mean, as Adam said, we've both, I guess, seen that and heard that a lot. And yeah, I agree with you. And it's one of those things I can never really get my head around it. I guess it's the equivalent of you have that type of person, who sees a young girl with a band T-shirt and goes, "Name 5 songs," or you're wearing a certain band. It's like, "Name 5 songs." And it's like, well, what? Can't I just be entry level and enjoy this?
No,
yeah,
they might not even like the band. They just like the shirt design. Who cares?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, you're right. Because I mean, let's face it. What's his name? The Iron Maiden.
Bruce Dickinson.
The caricature, the
Eddie.
mummy or the Eddie. I think he's really cool.
Yeah, he's cool design. Hey, yeah.
And I'd probably have to say, look, I'm not sure if I've even heard an Iron Maiden song, to be honest. I probably have, but
you might have heard 2 Minutes to Midnight. That's probably one of their most popular.
Probably, yeah, I probably have. But I think the design is really cool. So there you go.
Yeah, well, that's it, and that was. Yeah, I haven't actually. I should go back and look at where that design came from, because I'm imagining it was just like, make us a cool mascot that's gonna, people are going to pick up our records and go, oh, I'm just going to buy this because that dude looks cool, because that's the way you market your album. Like, why not? Have a cool looking mummy dude, skeleton dude on there. He's cool, eh? Like
absolutely.
Just as a side note, I saw my Iron Maiden, maybe like 2010 or something like that, or 29, and they had Eddie come. They have Eddie come out on stage as this giant, puppet thing. It looks so cool. It was just
that is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that is awesome. So partly, we're going to see Boney M. Sorry, not to cut you off. We're going to see Boney M. I think next Thursday.
Yeah, that's cool. Where at?
The Palais.
Oh yeah, nice.
Sinclair.
Yep.
Yeah. So the little man, so it started off as a joke. Little man heard "Daddy Cool," and and he was like sort of humming it around. And so me and Jody looked at each other and were like, should we get tickets? I mean, they're coming. Should we? Nah, should we?
And
so we ended up getting tickets.
That's awesome.
So we're gonna go check them out. The other thing I wanted to talk about was goodness, I forgot. But I was gonna say, movie wise, we just recently saw the new Garfield movie.
Oh yeah, what was that like? Yeah.
Oh, the experience. Because we saw it at I think a kid cinema.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. With the slides and boy.
Yeah, that's.
And they make it.
I saw Mario with a whole bunch of kids. That was a bit, that was fine. Like you roll with it. Yeah.
I basically did.
Yeah.
Both me and Jody walked out of there going never again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was like, that was a bit intense.
Yeah.
No, the kids had fun.
Yeah. The little man had fun on his birthday for doing that.
Yeah, he liked it. Yeah.
But he loved it. He's a Garfield fan, which I mean, look, Garfield is timeless. But it was actually really good. It was really well put together.
Yep.
Like for a kids movie, like there was a beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah.
And a little bit of character growth, a little bit of. It wasn't as obnoxious as I thought it would be. Chris Pratt as the voice of Garfield. It's Chris Pratt coming out of Garfield's mouth.
Yeah.
But it that being said, like I said, it wasn't bad. It was actually quite enjoyable, quite entertaining. So
the question is, do you reckon you'll remember it in a year or two? Like, could you remember plot points and moments? You know what I mean? Like,
Probably,
because it's like a lot of
probably, but I wouldn't think highly of it.
that. It's like a lot of those films. They're almost like manufactured. They're very safe. They're
They very
very
are.
very predictable. They're fun. They got funny moments. They got heartfelt stories, and they're great. But a lot of those ones that come out over like a year, like even 3 months down the track. I'm like, I can't remember what that movie was about because it's very. They're just sort of manufactured to be that way.
They're very generic. Yeah.
Yeah, generic. That's a good word. Yeah, that's why I
I
haven't
mean,
I fell off like Pixar. I haven't watched a Pixar movie in years. I haven't watched like
well,
the last
I was going to say
animation
the
was
new
Mario,
Pixar.
but that was just for nostalgia bait. But that was it.
You know, no, but that
Wasn't
being,
good.
look, do we well, I'll say this: the Garfield movie was better than the Mario movie.
Right. Wow. Yeah. Okay. So they had a bit more creativity because like Mario's very boilerplate story.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree with you. It was, and the whole Donkey Kong, look, the whole Donkey Kong segment for me was, I was just like,
Yeah, it's
wow,
a bit hard to. Yeah. Do you know the
it,
rumor is
well,
they're making a movie. The spin off. The next movie is going to be Donkey Kong, focused on him.
ew, really? Oh, I
Yeah.
mean, because like, it's not that I don't like Seth Rogen, but yeah, like I've said many times. I mean, if I like, if I hear that laugh one more time. I think, yeah, I'm gonna stab my eardrums with Q-tips because
This
it,
is,
oh,
I need a
it
soundboard
is,
here so I can spam it through
yeah,
the podcast. God damn it, we've lost him hard.
it, it's I don't know what it is. It's not like I like, and I don't like nothing against the guy or anything, but it's one of those things where it's like,
He's a bit.
why did I ever think you were funny?
Yeah,
You know
he's
what I mean?
everywhere. He's always a bit like Chris Pratt. I'm starting to get sick of seeing him
Yeah,
pop up everywhere. Just like, come on, dude. Like,
me
okay,
too. And
just get out of our
and,
face.
and yeah,
Yeah.
like I enjoyed it, and the same as I gotta say this, Jack Black. I mean,
Another one that's popping
I,
up everywhere.
just a bit too much. I mean, and
Mm.
he's a really cool dude. He's like,
Yeah, I
he's
love him.
absolutely amazing. Like, yeah, likewise, I love him to death. I mean, I'd be starstruck if I ever saw him.
Mm.
But like, he's almost in everything where I'm like, just okay, we kind of need to have, or what's his name? Kevin Hart. They're just
Kevin
everywhere.
Hart.
They're just Kevin
Wait,
Hart.
I haven't seen him be. Oh, sorry. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Some
Yeah,
reason I was thinking of Kevin. Is it Kevin James, the King of
yeah,
Queens?
you
Or
were
is it
thinking Ken James. Yeah,
he popped on a bed? I'm like, oh, he hasn't been around in ages. Yeah, Kevin Hart's everywhere. Yeah, there's a few of them.
yeah,
I've kind of
they
switched
just
off from
bombard you with
Hollywood.
it.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
honestly like there's.
Well,
I was thinking about going
well,
to see Furiosa, but again money wise, I'm just like I'll just wait for it to come out and watch it then.
mm,
I might go
well,
see Wolverine and what's it called Deadpool 3,
Deadpool.
but that sequel Deadpool 2 was really disappointing. It was pretty much just like the first movie, and I was like,
Oh yeah, it kind of was. And look, I'm a Deadpool fan from way back in the comic books. Deadpool and X-Man, X-Man, jeez. Wolverine is
yep,
I think it's gonna be a bit more fun. There's gonna be a lot of what's the
mm,
word? Fan service.
yeah,
But the thing I wanted to say before was so Illumination is sort of like the new Pixar because it
big
does have
time.
more heartfelt films
Mm,
and there is more character growth, and I find the animation way more better. The ones that I would suggest that are amazing, especially from DreamWorks, which put out something really quality, was
Puss in
Puss in
Boots.
Boots,
Yeah, I've heard
The
that's really
Last
good.
Wish.
Yeah, I've heard that's really good.
Oh,
Yeah,
bro, it is so good.
yeah.
Um,
That's
so
like
the big thing there,
that's up there with Paddington 2 in terms of one of the greatest animated films of all time. That's how big the
really,
ratings are.
Paddington 2,
Paddington 2 apparently is amazing. It's probably one of the best films, even
and
film overall.
Paddington 1 was really, ugh.
Bad,
But
yeah.
yeah. Oh, look, it was just very run of the mill. It
Yeah.
just told the story, and yeah.
Yep.
But the thing I was gonna say with oh goodness, what was I talking about?
Puss in
Puss in
Boots.
Boots
Mm.
is, again, as somebody who did suffer from anxiety and had an anxiety attack, like, in his mid 20s, and had never had any issues before that, and then all of a sudden had a panic attack.
Mm.
Um, they, and again, I'm sure you've heard this, but if you see, they treat, and I'm not going into the story, but Puss in Boots does have a panic attack,
Mm.
and the way they treat it shows such respect to the people who suffer from it,
Mm.
compared to the woke business that was Velma, who treated it with a lesbian kiss as a fan service.
Mm.
And it's just this, it's apples and oranges, man. It's night and day. The writing, it genuinely Puss in Boots: Last Wish. Definitely put it on your list and watch it. It is worth watching. It's funny. It's cute. It's poignant.
Mm.
But yeah, no, definitely. I was gonna say Elimination. It has put through a few good films and they have a bit more comedy in them. They're much more funnier. Like
Mm.
one that we saw was what's it called? One with ducks in it. Migration.
Okay. Yep.
Migration.
Yep.
That one, it was funny. It had a good laugh. We had a few good laughs in that one. Um, but so what I was actually going to bring up and what I wanted to talk about before, and I will make it somewhat short.
Mm.
So we can get back to one of your topics. Was going to be with regards to Kung Fu Panda 4.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So we ended up watching it.
Yeah. What do you think?
Unnecessary?
That's
No, look, in quite all honesty, unnecessary. It was genuinely the only. Okay, so I should put it this way: James Hong and Bryan Cranston as Poe's fathers. Have you seen the Kung Fu Panda series?
Oh, I might have seen one of them, but again, it's like every other movie I've forgotten. All those animation movies, I
Okay,
can't remember it.
so in Kung Fu Panda 3, Poe finds his father, or his father finds him, who happens to be voiced by Bryan Cranston. Um, and a whole bunch of other stuff happened. But essentially, they're in this, and like Poe goes off to go defeat this great evil in another city, with this other character, and they follow him because they're worried about him. But they're just so lovable and funny, those two,
Mm.
because like one's a big coward, and the other is like just James Hong, this amazing. He's so funny and just such a lovable father.
Mm.
Um, the other character that as well that was really really cool, who they brought back to voice the original villain, Tai Lung, the snow leopard, is Ian McShane.
Oh, does he voice him?
Yeah, he voices him.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, he's one of my
Oh,
favorite actors. Yeah,
he is so cool in it.
he's
He is
great.
just so cool.
Yeah,
So he makes an appearance.
awesome.
But yeah, look, unnecessary. The whole film was very
It's,
very
it's
much unnecessary.
money,
Why
right?
bring him back?
Money.
Um,
Mate, yeah.
yeah, no, yeah, well said, money. I mean, and again, no hatred, no hatred or
Mm.
anything, just very unnecessary. Essentially, is great evil has risen. Um, Poe is tricked. Oh, not tricked, but Poe believes he's helping, this other small time thief who's a woman. So the whole premise is Poe has to find a new dragon warrior. So like not Dennis, Dustin Hoffman. Dustin Hoffman, yeah, Dustin Hoffman's character, who's the little red panda, turns around and goes, "Hey, it's time that you have to move on from being the Dragon Warrior. You have to find another character." And Poe's reluctant to do so. So the essentially this other character who's a female character, she's all sassy and wisecracking and typical Hollywood woke crap. Um, comes into his life. They convince him to go fight this great evil. Turns out, and again, you can see it from a mile away. She's working for the bad guy, betrays him, but during all that time, she kind of learnt to be good. So then, you know, she basically has a change of heart last minute, tries to do the right thing, defeats the big evil bad with the help of Poe, who does the final defeating, and he's like, "I'm ready to move on. You're the new Dragon Warrior."
Mm.
And it's like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah. I just, yeah, that's the
yeah,
other part of it. Like, yeah, maybe that is flipped, but I mean, I just don't watch them. Or just do not care when they come out now. I just okay, whatever, and I'll just move about my day. Like, it used to be DreamWorks and Illumination and all that were just that boilerplate, no emotion, do it. They're all the
mm-hmm.
same, generic, and Pixar were good, but it sounds like it's flipped a little bit. But that still sounds like the old DreamWorks. That I'm
Yeah.
familiar with. It's made for kids. Like at the end of the day, it's not really made for us. It's for kids. But
Well, that's true. That is very
the
true
one
to me.
positive I'd say we got out of it is we got a cover of "Baby One More Time" by Jack Black,
Yeah,
which I absolutely
that
loved.
was awesome.
Yeah,
That is awesome.
I love that
That
through
is
that.
so cool.
So of course the marketing worked because all I saw was him on the red carpet. What's this for? Oh, it's Kung Fu Panda 4, but him doing his doing the dance, the video to it. I loved it.
Look, the thing is that's the sad thing is that song only appears at the end, like after the credit scenes.
Yeah,
Because I'm like waiting for the whole thing for the whole time, like any moment now, any moment now, any
yeah,
moment,
yeah.
because it was so cool. I mean, yeah, you're right. It is for kids. Uh, yeah, they got a
Just
few good laughs out of it, I guess. Little Man got a few laughs,
the
but
one that the one that annoyed me actually showing up is like talking about things I don't care about things, but I still do care. One of my favorite movies of all time, of course, is The Lion King, and I went and saw
mm,
the live action remake or the CGA live action CGI, whatever you call it, the more modern one.
hmm
They obviously didn't hit for me because it wasn't the same as the cartoon. Even though it was story wise beat for beat, but it was just like surprisingly Timon and Pumbaa were really good in that. I thought they chose them well. They were
Oh,
good.
really?
But then because I think actually I think Seth Rogen voices Pumbaa, but
Oh, for God's sake.
yeah, but it was good. Him and Billy Eichner, I think it was. Anyway, they were really good. But they've announced there's a prequel coming out. It's about Mufasa. And it's live action style. I'm just like, oh god, what are they
Oh,
doing? Yeah,
yay.
exactly. It's like, no, go away, Disney, please stop. But anyway,
Yeah. No, no,
yeah,
you're not wrong with that. Because again, before I get on to the next point, I was going to say with Kung Fu Panda, like again, the first one, it's kind of the worst one out of the original three because you watch it, it's fun, it's very much for kids, lighthearted. You know, basically, it's unlikely hero becomes hero that nobody else expected, and everybody learns to respect him.
mm,
It's kind of the story. The second one, you delve more into his background and why he seems to be the only panda in the entire city. And it's very emotional, very dark. And the villain himself isn't necessary because that's a real cool thing about the Kung Fu Panda series, I guess. The villains aren't just these evil characters for the sake of being evil. Like the first one was evil because he was meant to be the Dragon Warrior, but he had too much like either pride or something in his heart. It was like, the Yoda thing was like, I see darkness in your heart. You'll never. So he goes Darth Vader, right?
mm,
In the second one, the character wanted to rise to ultimate power, but was told that he was going to be beaten by a warrior of black and white. So he sends to kill off all the pandas, and it's
mm,
very sad because you see the loss of Poe's mum, and how his dad found the goose, James Hong's character. Poe's dad finds him and everything, and how he grows to love him, and how he now sees his life is full with him. And then the third one, you find out that well, there's two sub stories. There's the dad coming from a village of pandas who once were great manipulators of chi, which is the eternal energy in everybody. Um, but you also find out a secret of like the great master Uwe, who's the turtle character, who's meant to be the great master of everything. And I think the previous Dragon Warrior or something, I don't know. But the one who ends up choosing Poe in the first film, like he passes on to the next realm, I think in the second film or whatever.
mm.
But you find out that he was actually a villain, and he was actually an evil guy. And his partner, who thought he was betrayed, or who thought he betrayed him because he was now working for the good guys, um, his partner comes back from the spirit world and wants to like reclaim like all his power, be evil, reclaim all the chi in the world to be all powerful. So there's like this growth of like Poe coming to terms with his like I guess origin and culture and people, but also at the same time learning to be more powerful. And then and then you see the fourth film, which is essentially, I guess you could argue, the growth of the character, learning to move on from his, from a position to something greater, and to see greatness in teaching. But they've done that in a mini series. They've done it in a few other things, and I don't know. It was just like, it's not necessary. It wasn't a great story. I mean, you guys have written such great stories before, you know. So yeah, it's one of those things. Like we're going to that point I was going to get to with Disney. You're right. I saw the Aladdin film while
Mm,
we were waiting in a hospital room for Jodie,
mm,
sort of my wife's illness. And the thing was this, right? It was beat for beat, but it just had none of the magic.
mm.
Like Will Smith as the genie,
Can't
it's
help it.
more
The
about
Robin
Will.
Williams,
Yeah, no, he really can't, because it's more about Will Smith being a genie than it is about
the genie, the
the genie
character.
helping. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
because I mean, with the other film, like even though the genie was there and you had Robin Williams, he never took the spotlight away from the main two characters. But he was so magnetic that when he was there, you loved him. He was
Mm,
like the comic relief. He was brilliant. With this, it was just, oh, it's Will Smith.
mm,
Because I don't know who the hell that guy is. I don't know who she is. And then it's just Will Smith being Will Smith.
yeah,
So, like, it has none of the magic.
yeah.
Which,
But
yeah.
it's. I think it's worked for them though because they continue doing the live action remakes and they're making a lot of money. I don't know if you've seen the box office, but for even like I think the last one was it the last one the Little Mermaid? They remade. I know they remade that.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, yes.
That got a lot of money. Like there's still parents going to take their kids to it because like, oh, I grew up watching this. Here you go, and it's still doing all right. But I mean, it's just I'm just not interested. It's like it's kind of like the good old you sort of someone somewhere I read on the net about every generation seems to have that period from their teens to their early adult life where they're listening to music, and then that pretty much sticks with them for the rest of their life. They don't really anything else that comes beyond that. Oh, back in my day, the music was much better, and it's certainly true to a case. Like I don't listen to anything on the charts. There's nothing there that really interests me. It's all rock or metal or something like that, and then whenever I hear, but like in the same sense as music that I used to listen to or was familiar with back when I was growing up that I didn't like, I still don't like these days, but I hear it come up, I'm like, oh, this one, I remember this one because it's nostalgic back when I was growing up.
I've gone the other way. I do listen to some newer stuff. I get not a fan of a lot of the stuff that's out there because I'm just like, ugh, it just all sort of blends into the same sort of thing. But that being said, I've also gone back and I've gone like one of the things I didn't realize, I'm a Journey fan. I'm
Oh,
actually
yeah.
genuinely a Journey fan. I love a lot of their music.
Yep.
I've discovered a lot of other songs. Like, I mean, I've gone back to the 90s, which again would have been I say slightly before my time because I wasn't necessarily a teenager during the 90s. I was more a teenager during the early 2000s.
Mm.
But during the 90s, yeah, like there was a
Your
whole bunch
peers
of
were
really
into it.
cool songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what
And,
I
and,
found as I'd gone. Yeah, I'd sort of extended into some parts of the 90s because I do remember bits and pieces of it growing up, but a lot of kids at school were singing stuff in the 90s, like obviously in Nirvana and that were cool, and well, that's probably earlier, but I mean, like, God, what was it? Like POD, like you get all that new metal stuff started coming in around then, and more of the pop bands, like the boy bands and stuff, and
yeah, because I remember a lot of the boy band stuff, and look, admittedly, I mean, I hear some of the boy band stuff, which I used to really, cringe at listening to because all the girls would be like, ugh, so lame. But now I listen to it and I have kind of somewhat fond memories, and it sort of makes me laugh.
It's nostalgia,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, it is nostalgic. But the Silverchair,
Oh, yeah.
Smashing Pumpkins,
Smiling
Fuel, yeah, smiling, Homer smiling politely.
Yeah. All of
that sort of stuff.
So it's the same thing with shows, I think, because like they bring it back around to tying that off of what we're talking about is that the kids, those kids may grow up loving those live action remakes that maybe they then will grow up and see the cartoons and go, oh, hang on, the cartoons are heaps better. I don't know, but I'm starting to like that hasn't worried me for a while now. I'm just like, whatever, I just don't really blink or don't really think about it these days. I gravitate to some stuff. Like actually, if we're talking about TV shows, Invincible. So I've been watching that. Fantastic. It's weird because I don't watch a lot of TV shows. Like I've dropped off The Boys, and that's just because I have to wait for seasons to come out. And I think I've told you before. Tell everybody else is I should go back and watch old series that have been done because I love binge watching shows. I hate it when there's a pause. So I have to wait like another year for the next season. Like that's why I never watch Game of Thrones because you have to wait a year. I'm like, I'm never going to go back to it. So I'm actually going to watch Game of Thrones at some point because it's finished. But I struggle with things. But the weird thing is when I say that, I contradict myself. I still come back to like, I love Rick and Morty and Solar Opposites. I watch those when they come out every year. But they're sort of like, you don't need to spend a lot of time and attention thinking about it. They're very light. No. So I could jump back into it like a year later and go, oh, you don't really need to remember stuff from previous episodes. But then one that has been is Invincible. So that's based off this comic book series from Robert Kirkman, who did, co-creator of Walking Dead. And basically for anyone who hasn't seen it, is the character's essentially half human, half Viltrumite, which is an alien species. Basically, his dad's a Viltrumite. Viltrumites have gone basically out to different planets to conquer them and bring them into the Viltrumite Empire. They're basically evil. They're very fascist. They believe their way is the best way. They eliminate any weakness. Like planets are free to join them, but they have to live under their rule and their, all that sort of stuff. So And this series follows him being a teenager, growing up with his like the typical like Spider-Man style of trying to balance my personal life with being a superhero, and now also my dad's trying to take over the planet kind of thing, and it's super violent. And I just it's something that really clicked with me with the story, the writing in it, and the characters, and so season 2 took them like 2 years to get around to getting season 2 done because there was like all this drama with the contracts and whatnot. That just came out and finished, and I watched through that and loved it. And then I was like, oh, now I'm going back through the first season again. And again, I'm gonna have to wait another year for this bloody. Well, they're saying apparently they've pretty much done season 3, and it's not far off. We won't have to wait as long, but I guarantee it'll be a year. But that's just one thing I want to call out. I've been watching that, and I've been absolutely loving it. Invincible, fantastic.
Well, that's brilliant. I mean, no, look, I agree with you when it comes to series. And you know what? I think it makes it very different. Like with the Solar Opposites, Rick and Morty, South Park, Bob's Burgers, and that sort of stuff, like American Dad and everything. I classify them as seasonal. Like they'll come out every season. You just have to fishing or whatever. Like there's a season for it.
Yeah.
Like you have to wait till September, and then you get the whole run, and you watch them, and then like I classify it, but I do hate the wait. Admittedly, I do hate the wait. That being said, what I've picked up is a lot of anime, and it's funny because I guess tying our previous subject about nostalgia and stuff to a lot of other things. I've really gotten into a lot of slice of life, a lot of high school slice of life style anime, and I don't know, it really hits me because it sort of brings me not that my high school was great, but I guess youth, sort of, I guess when you realize you have a crush on somebody, working through that, and the Japanese anime does it really well. It does it really, some of them, of course. The thing I love about Slice of Life is that it's more grounded.
Oh, that's the name of the show?
Oh no! It's more grounded, as in it has less of the sort of the big eyes, the big characteristics, the big sort of reactions where they scream and the jaw drop.
The name of the show is called Slice of Life, is it?
No, the genre.
No. Genre. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, gotcha. Yep.
So so one of them is obviously on Netflix, which is called Comey Can't Communicate. Another one is what is it? Is it Darkness in My Heart or?
Looking it up. Stand by.
The Dangers. Yeah, sorry, The Dangers in My Heart. The Dangers in My Heart.
Yep.
Which again, look, it's very cutesy. You could even almost say it's like one of the girl shows, but it's very. I don't know. I found myself watching it and being quite invested because it just takes me back to sort of young love, like high school young love, like when you first have a crush, like and they do it so well because it's so well grounded in like it's almost reality, like where almost little inconspicuous things mean so much, like having your hair a certain way, wearing your uniform, growing a few inches taller, over the summer, talking to somebody and then talking to somebody else and somebody else getting jealous and not understanding why, and like all these emotions and them comprehending this and trying to put it into a form of understanding at that age, which again you're talking about like 15-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds. It's just very cute and very nostalgic. It's sort of one of those things where I found myself actually kind of addicted to these because it's just very lovable. We watch an episode and you're like, oh, I'm kind of hooked. It kind of reminds me. Yeah, it is comfort food.
Yeah,
because it brings you back to sort of those memories that, or like going, oh, I kind of lived through that, and I find myself sort of half chuckling to myself, going, young love, or like, oh god, I really was that awkward in high school. This sort of thing, like, oh goodness me, I mean, how clueless was I? Yeah.
It's funny you say that because my comfort food animes are Dragon Ball Z. Like I didn't fight demons and stuff, about big fights in the middle of the sky, but it was just for some reason I could sit back, chuck them on, or could breeze through, the whole Frieza saga, and be like, that was good to watch that.
Actually, what half ruined Dragon Ball Z for me, was this amazing team of YouTubers, and again, this was done almost 10 years ago. They're
Mm.
called Team Four Star. If
Yeah,
you
oh,
haven't
that's
heard of
right. You
them,
showed me that. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, the Team
yeah.
Four Star guys.
That's
And again, I
ridiculous.
mean,
That stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
they take some time to actually get started, but once they like get pretty grounded,
yeah.
and around the Namek, I guess saga, like when
Mm,
they go to Namek
mm.
and they do all the Frieza thing, it is fantastic up to Cell. It is brilliant because it's Dragon Ball but for adults, and it's sort of it cuts through all the crap, and it's sort of like,
Yeah,
okay, this really works for me.
yeah.
This is really funny. Um,
I tried
but no,
the other one I tried was
hmm
Kai, Dragon Ball Kai. So the cut up episodes or the
yep,
but yeah, I didn't like it. I just part of me, part of Dragon Ball Z for me is that suspension, and I do like some of those episodes where they go off like there might be a big fight, but they'll just focus on Bulma or
hmm
Master Roshi, or they'll just have an episode where they've done something a little bit different. I kind of breaks it up. I just
yeah.
it's like I said, it's very
Which
comfort food for me that show.
no, you said it. Which again, most people would refer to as fillers.
Yeah.
Um, and you know what? You're right. I mean, because like the slice of life for, um, I don't even know what. I know there's a genre, and anime nerds will be able to tell me. A bunch of weebs out there will be able to tell me like what they're actually called. But
Mm.
like that sort of genre also seems to always have a beach episode, like where all the
Yep.
kids end up going to the beach, and it's funny because sort of like each one of these beach episodes, like three tropes happen. Like the girls like are all really nervous about wearing swimsuits or whatever,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
there's always a flat-chested girl, and there's always a girl who isn't as flat-chested but rather the
Well
opposite, very
endowed.
gifted,
Yeah.
well endowed.
Yeah.
And so the flat-chested one will be like, and it's always the girl that they don't expect,
Yep.
and she's always really shy and awkward about it. While the
Yep.
flat-chested girl is normally the outspoken one, and she's like, what the hell, and she feels bad, and I guess self-conscious about it.
Mm.
And then you have the guys who are kind of clueless, but are always like trying to, I guess, go hit on other girls, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
like
I can
it's
picture it
like
in
some
my head.
tropes. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's fun and it's enjoyable. Like you said, it is comfort food.
Yeah.
You sit there and you have a good chuckle, and I'm able to like sort of watch like 2 episodes, and then go to bed and be like, oh, that was good.
That was good.
Makes
Yeah.
me laugh. Yeah,
Was that did you see I don't know if you've seen any of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but there's an actual legitimate scene that is you go to one of the towns there and the Cloud and the girls get changed into their swimsuits, and there's a whole bit of the story that happens there. And that just made me think of that. And there's a good old obviously for all the weebs out there, the bloody deviants is there's just like one part where they're talking to Cloud and Tifa's bending down and it looks at from his point of view, and she's looking down and Tifa's leaning down in her low cut fucking suit on, and yeah, it's just like this is. I knew that's because I see that in a lot of like little clips from anime. Like I don't watch. I'm not an anime watcher apart from Dragon Ball Z really, and that I do see that quite often, and they'll have the girls doing the angry sort of face and their little, and the boys going, oh, the big eyes, and it's silly.
Oh no, again. Oh, and the other thing as well is, a lot of anime has really evolved as well because there's a lot of comedy now that's a bit more. Uh, I'm gonna say generic for lack of a better word, but more understandable for Western cultures, as opposed to like making because apparently Japanese culture is really big on puns. Really, they're really big on puns.
Right, and
Yeah,
innuendos.
like um, no, not so
Innuendo.
much innuendos, but
Yeah.
no, but really puns is apparently their thing. Puns is like it's what they really find funny.
Yeah, right.
Or like wordplay. Yeah, so I
So
was
they're
like,
like
oh, fair
they're like
enough.
40-year-old men, or they're like 40-year-old dads, are they?
Yeah, basically. But yeah, no, I mean, it again enjoyed a lot of the a lot of series. I've got a lot of series that I've sort of put on the back burner, which I enjoy.
Mm.
And again, they're just very quick. And the good thing is they're kind of like 12 episodes or 24 episodes. So it's
You
like
breeze
two
through them and
seasons, boom,
done,
yeah,
one and
breeze
done.
through
That's
them,
good.
done.
Yeah, that's handy.
I mean,
Like, yeah, that's
but
a
I agree
mini
with you.
because miniseries. Actually, then again, I need to get back to it. I just remembered. So on the way back from America, I watched,
hmm
started going back through Band of Brothers. Have you seen Band of Brothers?
No, it's on my list. It's on my
Oh
list.
man, it's amazing. It's a fantastic series. It's a Steven Spielberg HBO series. It's obviously about Easy Company, I think. So in
hmm
the airborne division,
hmm
paratroopers, in fact, of World War II, and the beauty of that. So it's based off stories from that company, real company, and in World War, and they actually have like little snippets of interviews from some of the characters of the actual legitimate men. So they're in their senior years, and they're talking about certain stories, and then it'll cut to the actual episode, and then obviously the actors will be in there playing their younger selves, playing out the episodes and whatnot. And it's very, the way it was shot was very, like, still Spielberg, of course, can be, over the top bombastic. He's got really great fantastical shows, but this was very, very much more grounded, very straightforward. It wasn't like grounded in the sense of ultra violent. There's a bit of violence in there, but it's very matter of fact, and I really appreciated the series because it's sort of like they might be just just going through a town and clearing it out, and that's the episode, and there might be a little thread in there, like they're trying to find one of them. They're trying to find one of their not their commanding officer, but maybe for their like sergeant for their troop or whatever, and they go, some people, half the episode's them taken out of town, and they get pushed back by the Germans, and then when they're at camp, they've realised he's back there, so they, a few of them go back, and then the end of the episode, they link up with him, and that's literally it. But it's just really well shot, and the characters build really well together. You feel for them. The music's incredible, like the title scene. Like typically I skip through title cards, but I love sitting there listening to Band of Brothers intro. It's just such a great soundtrack. But I'm waffling too much because I'm conscious of time and whatnot.
No, fair enough. I was going to say, actually, a little tidbit about that. Or two little tidbits. One of Spielberg and one of, regarding Band of Brothers. The Easy Company, there are actually some characters that appeared in Saving Private Ryan. Do you remember that guy who, when they stop in, I can't remember where, like one of the bases, he talks to one of the guys, and he has like, he's deaf because he's had his ears blown out. And he goes, "Where are you from?" He's like, "Easy Company." He's one of the characters that is in Band of Brothers.
Oh, there you go. That's cool. Because they do get separated on D-Day. They get all, one of the planes gets blown out of the sky, and they kind of get separated from where they're meant to be all meeting up at. So there might have been part of all that. But that's what I was wrapping around to. That was I really like that as a mini series because it's a one and done. Thank you. On to the next, onto the next thing.
No, I agree with you. I mean, like the other thing as well is personally. Spielberg directed one of the best, what I think is one of the best animated versions of Batman. And that was the animated version of Batman in the 90s with Kevin Conroy, I think it was, as the voice of Batman, and Mark Hamill as the voice of Joker.
Was it a movie?
No, it's an animated series.
Oh, the series. Everyone goes on about that being fantastic. Yeah.
Oh, look, for me, well, it was so influential that because of that series, Harley Quinn is a character.
Yeah, now everybody consequentially is all sick of her. She's
Well,
yeah.
Well, not only that, I mean, she's now. I guess comic book writers do it all the time. They've turned her into an anti-hero. She's a bit of a good guy now.
Yeah. Which is
and now
weird.
but the Joker's now got another girl who's a bad guy.
Okay.
Which
exactly.
My thoughts exactly. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Time for was there any other topics you wanted to touch on? I do have one more game I wanted to talk about.
No, please, no, take the lead. Absolutely, no.
Sure. Hitman. So I picked up Hitman World of Assassination. So I actually played that through the story on Game Pass a while back, probably maybe a year ago. Really enjoyed it, and then again, it came up on a Steam sale recently, and I was like, "Oh, I'll pick it up again," because I wanted to jump into they'd originally released them as like episodes basically. So it was Hitman 1, 2, and 3, and then they eventually brought them all together. It was really confusing if you was trying to buy it because if you owned 1, you could get a bit of 2, but then you have to purchase more and blah 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 blah. And even I got confused once I bought World of Assassination. I thought I got everything that I got in the Game Pass version, but no, that's like in the Deluxe Ultimate Edition. So I missed a few story. Turns out they weren't actually a part of the story. They're just other missions. But anyway, absolutely had a blast going through that again. But to my dismay, because I bought it for the Steam Deck so I could play it on the way to work, and we talked about having games where you could just pick up and play for 20 minutes or so. Hitman's perfect for that. But the thing that frustrated me is they lock a lot of their modes behind online. So frustrating. So I can go through the story missions, but I've done all that, and it gets, you can do all the challenges, but it just kind of gets a bit boring. And they've got like a what do you call it, roguelite mode in it called Freelancer, which sounds really interesting, which might be the one I might jump into as a mode that I like. And that's basically you get certain tasks you got to do, and you got to take out your enemies with a certain. It depends on the goal, like dress up as a waiter, then stab him with an ice pick in the bathroom or something like that. It might be certain ways of you got to try and challenges, which sounds really fun, and I'd like to do that, but you need to be online to do it. So that completely ruined that, and I honestly haven't been back after I finished the story because I was just like, well, I wanted to use it to play it on because I don't have. I guess, don't have a heck of a lot of time when I'm home to play games too much. And, like, I've sort of want to choose other games over that, like Shadow of the Erdtree when that comes out. Although, Shadow of the Erdtree, I'll be able to play on the train. I know because, I've been playing Elden Ring. I went through Elden Ring again recently to build up a character for this DLC run. And I could do that on the train. Yep. Yeah, it's just, I guess I'm just having a bit of a whinge. Stuff you IOI Interactive because that was, that was annoying.
Well, I was going to say this, right? I was going to say, you know what? I'm kind of with you on that. Game developers really need to stop doing this. Like, I don't want to be on the internet.
Sorry, I should take that back. It may not be IOI Interactive. I can't remember who published it, but sometimes it's the publisher that makes this decision, not the developer. So I'm not 100% confident. So I don't want to bag them out, but whoever, it could have been the publisher, it could have been the developer's choice. I don't know, but it's just frustrating as a consumer. But yeah, go ahead.
All right, okay, no, you are right. Let's make that amendment. So whoever makes this decision, like, honestly, I don't want to have to be online to play. Sometimes you know what? Especially with handheld PCs becoming so readily available, I want to be able to sort of play it either on a plane. I want to be able to play it if I'm out camping, if I'm out somewhere. You know what? You might think, oh yeah, if you're out camping, why would you? You know what? At the end of the day, like before bed, maybe you want to get a bit of gaming in, or on the train. Like I don't want to be focusing on being online all the time. Especially those of us who work in like sort of the IT industry. We're online always. It's so hard to get away from being online. That sometimes it's nice to know that I'm not having to connect to an internet connection for something. I can just play remotely. And the other thing as well, it feels like you're only paying like for half a game.
That's my frustration. I've paid for your content, and I can only because there's no excuse. Like it's not like it needs to connect online for, like you even get a half an experience with the story. Like the story, you get achievements and whatnot, but they're locked off if you're offline. Like you don't get achievements, and I don't know if it uploads after the game. I'm not sure. I can't, but it's nice having you get little dopamine hits when you like hide a body and you get this ding, this little thing pop up saying 50. You get 50 points for hiding a body, But I don't. Yeah, sorry. So that was just my whinge about it. But going back talking about the game because I don't know if I've talked to the game. Have I talked to you about Hitman much at all?
No. Sadly, we haven't had a chance to catch up on that. But I do know a bit of it.
Have you played any of the Hitmans like in the past or?
No, I haven't had the pleasure. The closest I've come to it is I've played a mobile game version, which is sniping characters from afar. Yeah. It's fun enough, but but I've seen a lot of gameplay through one of the YouTube channels I watched because they were doing a bit of a showcase and gameplay. And you know what? I could really see myself getting behind the game. It's fun. It looks quirky.
So much fun. Yeah. It's pretty much a sandbox assassination game. Like you got two targets, figure out a way to kill them. So the first part of this, I guess, when I go through the story, is you get used to the levels, the events that happen within the level. You figure out your paths that you might want to get, your easiest way to get to killing them. Taking out your targets. Some of them have got like side missions you got to do, like collect this stuff from here or there or whatever. But once you've done that the first time, then you've got like at the end of the mission, you get like a rating and a ranking, like how long it took you, the method you used to kill, how many disguises you did, if you were discovered, yada yada yada. And then you can go through obviously to try and perfect your rank there, get like an S ranking or 5-star, I can't remember what ranking they do. But then you also get these challenge, like these little tiles that'll have like challenges. So yeah, it might be like, kill them by poisoning, go into every room in the building, blah, 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 whatever it may be. But it sort of encourages that going back and trying to, do a different way of assassinating them each time. And it's heaps of fun doing that because it is as just a sandbox game. You're basically like, okay, let's muck with the characters. You might become, disguise yourself as one of their bodyguards, and then all of a sudden you get access to a different area. And then, yeah, it's just,
that's brilliant.
it's really well designed. It's a real fun game.
See, look, I can see myself enjoying something like that, which one, I guess in the similar vein I've picked up recently is the Sniper series. And I know for
Sniper
that,
Elite.
yeah, the Sniper
Yeah.
Elite series.
Yep.
And that has fantastic X-ray kills. And
Yeah.
like you said,
Ball shots.
Snipe. Yeah. But it's like, a sniper simulator, if you will. And yeah, I can see myself having fun with it. A lot of fun. I mean, not something I want to play in front of my son, but yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
definitely.
I need to give that a go. I've never actually played a Sniper Elite. That's another one that's a blind spot in my catalog. So I think that's on. Well, my Game Pass is expiring in about a month from now. But I'm done. I think like I said, I might go through Doom 2016 again just to pick up on some of the areas I missed. Like I missed out a lot of the secrets. I sort of like speed running it almost. Go back and do that again, and then Friday, Shadow of the Erd Tree, and that's all I'm going to be playing, baby. I cannot wait.
No, the other thing I was going to say, I mean, do you know what I did enjoy though of Hitman? The two movies. There's two movies.
There's two.
Yeah, there's Hitman, and Hitman Agent 47.
Who played Hitman? Because I know Timothy Olyphant played one of them, but I don't know which one that was.
He played the first one, I think, in the original Hitman.
Yep.
And Hitman Agent 47 is Rupert Friend.
Oh, yeah, I think I know who that is. Yeah. I'll have to look him up because I can't quite remember what he looks like, but the name rings a bell. Rupert Friend.
He has a very I was going to say memorable face. Personally, I think he has quite a memorable face. But yeah, no, I think it
Oh no, I don't
again.
know. Never mind. Yeah.
I'll say again. I think a lot of people might turn around and say, you like those movies? They were so crap. They were like the what's it called? The Max Payne movie with Mark Wahlberg. Look, I like them for what they were. I like them for what they were. They were very which were fun. So
yeah,
you know what? I might actually put them back on the list. I might watch them sometime.
Chuck them on again. Yeah, too.
Yeah, I might chuck them on.
Because I'm kind of like that. Like when we were talking about before about like top-rated movies, I mentioned Paddington 2. I thought in the back of my head, I've seen some of the movies that people go on about as being amazing, and I just don't gel with them. And I've got a rule. Like video games, I can generally, if the consensus is the game's good, I generally like it myself. Like I don't think there's apart from these roguelikes that we talked about where I'm not really gelling with them, but typically I can enjoy them. I can really get into it. But movies, sometimes I can really go off the beaten track. Like I really loved You Don't Mess with the Zohan. It's one I go back to quite often. This Adam Sandler movie. That's one of his most panned films of all time, but I absolutely love it. And then I'm trying to think of Godfather 2. I did not like it. Boring as hell. I turned it off halfway through. I was like, nah, not for me. Don't know why people like this.
Look, I'm glad it wasn't just me. The whole Godfather, because I remember. Oh, you got to watch it. You got to watch it. No,
sorry.
Not for me.
No, sorry, I didn't even get to Godfather Part 2. What am I talking about? I just tried watching the first one. I'm completely wrong. I just tried watching the first one and got bored and turned it off.
Oh, look, I put myself through the first one, and then I tried to put myself through the second one. Halfway through the second one, I'm like, all right, let me just see what the third one has in in this, and I'm like, nah,
no good.
Just this is just.
I prefer Scarface.
Yeah. So do I. I prefer Scarface for that matter.
Say hello to my little friend.
Because do you know what I felt about the Godfather series? It was just it was like reading a novel.
Yeah,
I just read the novel.
I understand why. I kind of understand why people like it. It's art, but I just was just so droll. It's such a on the other hand, if we're going to go for the positive movie, I've only saw Shawshank Redemption for the first time about 5 or 6 years ago. So quite late into like after a lot of people have seen it, and a fantastic movie. Like I'd see why that's rated up there highly because I loved it. It was fantastic.
No, you're 100% right. I mean, I remember watching it very early on and then watching it again. But yeah, look, again, not to bring it back to negative, but the other movie as well that a lot of people seem to talk about, which I don't get. I genuinely just don't get. And I saw it and I was like, okay, it's not a bad film, but I don't get the hype behind it. The Princess Bride.
I don't think I've seen it. What's that one again? Who's in that one?
Uh, the guy who does Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Um, yeah, I don't know his name. I know I picture his face. I've forgotten his name.
Yeah, and
And isn't got what's the name?
Billy
of it?
Crystal apparently. Carrie
Oh.
Elwes.
Oh no, yeah, I've never seen it.
Elwes.
Don't even know it. No.
Wallace Shaw. Chris Sarandon, Billy Crystal, Mandy Patinkin,
Yeah,
Inigo Montoya,
don't know anything
Andre
about
the
it.
Giant.
It's a popular film, is it?
Oh, Bill, it's one of those ones that's a cult classic, which apparently people love. It's the one where people get that. Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya, and you kill my father. And you
Oh, is
killed
that where
my
that's
father.
from? Oh, maybe I do want to
Prepare
watch
to die.
that because I love because I said that I hear that with Big Bang Theory, and Howard
Yes.
Raj funny. Hello, my name is you killed my father. Prepare to die. So,
Yeah.
It always makes you laugh,
Which-
that scene.
Which again, I think it's. Look, I'll let you watch it. I mean, I personally, it wasn't bad, but I didn't get the hype behind it.
The hype,
Like
yeah.
everyone was like, "Oh my god,
but-
you have to watch it! It's so good."
Well,
I was like,
the
okay.
key word there you said is cult movie. Cult versus different like cult versus like generally popular, considered popular. I'd consider that different. Like what's the Big Lebowski? So I think I tried showing that to my folks. They just did not get it. They did not like it. I loved it because it was weird enough for me, and that's a cult classic. And I think you'll find that divides people. You'll either have people that love it, like myself,
You're
or
right.
people just like that's just what the hell was that? That was garbage. You look them watching absolute rubbish, and that
Well,
maybe. But is Princess Bride like more of a universally acclaimed, or is it a cult, more of a cult classic?
I think it's a cult classic, and I think there's more people who like love it because it is a cult classic.
So there's
but
a good
again,
chance I might like it because it could be like might
you
not
might
be
like
up
it,
our alley,
yeah.
but it might not be up yours. You know.
I mean, but here's the
never
thing.
heard of
Like like yourself, I watched The Big Lebowski very late. Now my partner and wife, she couldn't stand it. Like apparently she'd seen it in the past.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, but when we watched it together, she got a new appreciation.
Oh,
And
really?
me personally,
Yeah.
me personally, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. It's a bit of the like off the wall, not necessarily a mystery, but one of those films where it's like
It's hard to
it's
explain,
almost
isn't it? It's just a
the
weird
best way I can
movie.
explain. Oh, look, the best way I can explain it is through a video game adage, which is it's a what's it called? It's a fetch quest movie.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you
I
see
kind of get
what I'm trying to say with that. Yeah.
kind of get what you mean, but it's sort of like yeah, it doesn't quite explain the vibe of the movie because it's just it still brings you along for that journey just because you're just like, what the hell's with this character? Like, I don't get this
Yes.
dude. There's something wrong with him, you know. Yeah, but there's
Yeah.
you
No.
can't-
You're absolutely. And
Yeah.
everyone you meet is just as weird.
Yeah, he's going on a
but-
journey, like a little adventure, but it was like all because of his rug, he wants to get it replaced, but then it turns out he gets wilderness murder sort of thing going on. But
and hence my analogy, like with the fetch quest, like, and I'll go like with a Zelda fetch quest, like where it's like, all right, not for something useful. It's like, oh, you need to, oh, maybe something useful, like, oh, you need to get this key, and it's like, all right, cool, and then you like go talk to so and so. He's the last person. You go over to these, you're like, oh, hey,
no,
man,
you better
look,
go over here. Yeah,
Yeah, like, no, but it's more like, oh, hey man, look, my wig fell into the well,
yeah,
and I need to get my wig back for a date. And you're like,
yeah,
what?
gotcha. Yeah, I
Like,
see what you mean.
go
Yeah.
talk to so and so for like, a fishing rod.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, look, man, I only give you this fishing rod if you help me get this girl, and she
Yeah.
likes this fish. So you have, So
So it's
sort of
more like
that
a
vibe.
multiple fetch quest, like a multiple
Yes,
string one. Because it was
yes.
just because I was just thinking it was one. It's like, oh, it's not. But yeah,
No.
it's like I need to get the thing to get the thing to get the thing to just get the thing
Yes.
back to that person. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, I see what you mean.
and
Yeah.
and I do mean that with all that quirkiness and funness, and yeah, but look, I again, will I say it's like a amazing movie that deserves? No, it's a good movie. Like A Bigger Basket's a good movie. Like I'm not going to go as far as be like, yes, it deserves an Oscar. God damn it! It's a good movie. It's fun. It's entertaining,
It's different.
and
That's
yeah,
just what I
yeah,
like
it's
about it. It's
different.
just different. Like
Yeah,
I tend to find I these days I get more into stuff that's just a little bit different, unless they're like. Think back to Fury Road, that's a straight out action movie, and I freaking love it for it. But it's not very smart, thoughtful, or anything like that. It's just literally them in a big car chase for the whole movie. You're like, that was great, but I think back
but there's
to
nothing wrong with that.
no, it's fine.
But
But like The Witch, I
like
always
the
go
boomer
back.
shooters.
Or actually, no, more modern are The Northman. So that's sort of a little bit divisive as well. I've found from some people I've talked to who said they hated it, they found it weird and boring. But again, I loved it because of that Robert Eggman. Anyway, the director of that, he did the Witch, and I love The Witch because that was just for me a proper vibed horror movie. It wasn't like a jump scare. It was just makes you sort of shivers up your spine. And then he kind of brought that into The Northman. It had a bit of like horror elements to it, and it was just
But also
weird.
the mythology of it, like with the Valkyries and how we, look, when I saw it, I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was absolutely stunning,
The Northman,
stunning imagery. The Northman,
yeah.
yeah, stunning imagery. The story, and again, I'm not saying this to be mean. For me, it was just like it's basic. Like it's not hard to understand.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
a revenge story, and look, would I be more on the? It's it's hard to say. If I was watching it for the story only, I would be bored.
Bored,
But
absolutely.
the imagery,
yeah,
but
the way
the imagery and
directed the
everything,
film, the art direction,
everything else,
the photography in it, the
yes,
direction,
so beautiful.
incredible. That's what I mean. It's like it's a weird sort of because some people watch it and go. It's like people that listen to another analogy is people. I got a mate who listens to music for the words, the story, whereas I listen to it for the music. I like the groove, the beat, and the lyrics usually come second. Same sort of thing. Some people will watch a movie and go, "That story was boring, the characters are boring," but I'm like, "That was so freaking weird. I loved it." just
Yes,
something going on.
no, you're absolutely right. It was a good experience.
Yeah,
Like films like
experience.
that,
That's a good way. Yeah.
the films like that I call experiences. I'm like, oh, all right, take me on this experience. Show me what you want to tell me.
Show me what you've got.
Yeah, which again was beautiful.
Yeah.
And then, but then there are films like you said, Shawshank Redemption, which you're like through the whole story, like, wow, this poor prick.
Yeah,
this poor bastard.
That was great character. That was probably more character work I could think in that movie. Like it's again reasonably straightforward story, but yeah, the characters are fantastic. Great character building.
Like for me, and I say this in the kindest way, Shawshank Redemption falls into a category that is sort of like the films you either only watch once and then sort of again like in 20 years time or whatever, because if you watch them year by year, the impact that those films have, you lose it. Like Schindler's List, Shawshank Redemption, and The Sixth Sense. Those films, like the first time you watch it, you're like, oh, wow. It changes you as a person, even, like there's so much going on. But, again, you can't watch them like so often because it's like, okay. And then the second time it's not as impactful. You're like, oh, okay, it's a great movie, but
that's a
good
call out with that. That's because I think of like if you say Sixth Sense, I've never actually seen. That's another one I've never seen. Sixth Sense, not that it doesn't really interest me, but partly because I know the twist, but it doesn't really interest me. But in terms of a Bruce Willis film, like I pretty much yearly will watch The Fifth Element. I absolutely love that. I'd never get sick of it.
Apparently that one's decisive. Apparently it's considered a cult classic as well. And this is apparently decisive.
Yeah, that'd be
But I love it. No, I'm with you on that one. I love it. I love everything about it. I'm a sci-fi guy, but yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it. Love all the little call-outs, because like the noodle stand or the Asian store call out to Blade Runner. Oh, there's another one. There's going to be a cult classic, Blade Runner.
Yeah, that's apparently it's cult classic.
I've made my my thoughts on it known, and again, my boss, huge fan of it.
Yep.
I can respect it for what it's done for sci-fi. I respect it immensely.
Not for you.
I thought, but I find the film so boring, except for the finishing dialogue, which apparently was ad-libbed by the character. That's the only bit I found interesting. Everything
Yeah.
else, I was just like, huh.
When's it end? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It was very much, oh, okay, when's it end?
Yeah. Yeah.
um, no, I don't know. Look, but you know what? I say that, and I'm kind of dying for something like Blade Runner to come out. And again, I'm not talking about like Blade Runner the sequel, but something as
It's like
impactful, something as different,
what do they call it?
something so off the wall.
High. It's something like high sci-fi. Or, I forgot what they call it. There's a word for it, like hard sci-fi. That's it. Hard sci-fi.
Hard sci-fi.
So that's like yeah. Well, The Expanse. That I think that's partially considered hard sci-fi, and at least parts of it.
The one that I found really boring, I was looking forward to was Ad Astra, to the stars.
Yeah, is that a recent thing?
Now, I say recently, maybe during the COVID period, sort of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. So yeah, fairly,
Mhm.
yeah. What was that about?
So Bruce, no, Jesus, I say Bruce. Brad Pitt's character. Um, Brad Pitt's character's dad apparently is like on a space station, orbiting Uranus or Neptune or something, and the guy's basically, and no one's heard from him, so they're sending his son out to like go find him because he's like the only other person that knows his research or whatever. He finds him, and but he's having also this existential crisis because he doesn't get along with his dad, and he does find him in the end, and then they have like a tense moment about something, then they kind of agree to head back.
It's like okay, that's the movie. Well done. So it was more of a character
Yeah,
thing rather than a sci. They just happened to be in space, but it wasn't really much about
yeah.
space. Yeah. So that's
And
the better one would be. I just thought of it then was that the one with Amy Adams and Jeremy Renner. I forgot the damn name of it. It's
oh yes, no, 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 no,
Signals or
no.
something, or
Um,
it's
no, no, it's not signs. It's
Sign.
signal.
No, that
No,
was
no,
that. Um,
it's not frequency. What is it? No, you're
Arrival.
right. It's
Arrival.
Arrival.
Yeah, yeah. So
That
that
was brilliant.
yeah,
That was brilliant.
that was all right. Yeah, I didn't like it. Obviously, it got a lot. I think it even won awards and everything. I thought it was good. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like groundbreaking to me. But that's more hard sci-fi. That I'm actually probably the other way. I do like when I'm stupid, dumb, go out and shoot stuff, But it's depends. It depends. Gattaca's another one that's harder sci-fi. That's probably I don't. Have you seen
Oh,
Gattaca?
that's one. Oh, look, I've probably seen it in my younger years. When I say younger,
Mm.
it's maybe 15, 16. But
Mm.
yeah, no, look, with Arrival, I loved it because it was different.
Yes.
It had like a lot of different. But then
Oh,
I do like I do like those sort of alien movies where there is a little bit left to question, but there's a little bit more. Like for example, oh, what's the one with Jodie Foster? Is it Frequency?
oh yeah. That's
Oh, what is it? That space film? Uh, Contact.
Contacts.
Contact.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
There's the one Contact. There's one with Charlie Sheen as well, which is
Don't know that one.
which is The Arrival in 1996.
Oh yeah.
The
Yeah,
Arrival.
not sure of that one. Yeah.
Oh, look, that's a fun one as well. That's like really fun.
I forgot because I
Um,
was with Arrival. I was like, who did that? And I remember it was Denis Villeneuve, and I've watched Doom Part 2 recently, and that was great. Like
mm.
the first one I was like pretty bored, but yeah, the second one was heaps better. But
What
that's
Doom
not
Part
really
Two, the
hard.
film?
Yeah, I don't know if you consider that hard sci-fi, but that was really good. Yeah, I really enjoyed Part 2. Yeah. What?
Hold on a second. Is this the one that recently came
They're
out
the new ones. Yeah.
where
So the same guy.
we're in,
It's what's his name? Timothy Chalamet and Zendaya. So it was on that, it's about that, it's based off that old novel that Frank Herbert? The kooky bloke who did like Eraserhead and that, Point Break. What? No, it was not Point Break. I forgot his name. Anyway, there was a Dune movie way back in the 90s,
oh,
80s.
sorry, Dune.
Dune, yeah.
Sorry, no. Yeah, no. You're right. Sorry. I heard Doom.
Oh,
too.
right. Yeah, no. I think I saw Doom. I think I saw Doom. It was a bit weird. I don't remember liking it from memory, but
I
yeah,
liked
no.
it. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, I can't really remember it if I'm honest, but no, Dune. So Denis Villeneuve, who
Mm.
directed Arrival, did Dune Part 1 and 2, and yeah, I mean that was again they're different-ish. And yeah, the
Look,
first one was well loved. I didn't like it. The second one was much better. I thought, why the hell didn't they do this in the first one? Because it was much more fun.
no, look, I should watch it because I watched the original Dune
Yeah,
in like, and that for me was just really off the wall. I'm like, what the hell
yeah,
is it?
that's batshit insane.
And
Apparently.
yeah, it is. Oh, it really freaking is.
What's his name? I forgot the bloody.
But yeah, no, it oh, geez, what? There was another film I was gonna bring up that was a bit of a cult classic that's kind of enjoyable but isn't enjoyable. Um, nah, it's gone. It's
Gone.
gone. Oh no,
Man,
there's it's done by Wes
Anderson.
Wes Anderson. It's very Wes Anderson. Um,
Oh,
the submarine one. I think you might know which one I'm talking about
oh
already.
yeah, yeah. I know the one you're talking about. Steve Zissou's Life Aquatic. Was that the one?
Yes, The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I haven't seen it. I've heard of it. I've only seen two Wes Anderson films, and I'm like, I think I'm good. I don't think I need to see any more of his because he's got a very particular style. And I'm like, I saw one, and I'm like, and
Oh,
then I saw the second one. I'm like, that's almost the same movie. I'm like, this is boring. It was all right, but it was just like, I'm not keen on his. I'm not big on his style.
I've actually come to enjoy his style. It's weird.
Yeah,
If
it's
I had to describe his style in the best way I could, it would be soda biscuits, tea, um, corduroys, and like
piano lessons.
piano lessons,
I don't,
and a big leather lounge chair.
well, it's it's like a stage play kind of, but with like the moving
Yes,
sets. That sort of like they'll have one scene and then the set will move and then it'll go to another scene and that's sort of how everything
I,
plays out and the characters are a
I
bit
and I,
over the top, like as in not like bombastic
the
over the top, but
caricatures.
yeah, very
Yeah,
characters. Oh yes, hello, you know, you're just like oh yeah,
yes.
you know. But that's
I
okay.
mean,
Like that's his style and he's well known for that, but just not my
no,
thing.
and look, I've really come to enjoy it. I've genuinely come to enjoy it. This it's almost like I was gonna say it was it him. Oh, I've lost it. I've lost it. There was something I was gonna make a comparison to, and I've completely lost it.
In one of his
Yeah,
films,
no,
you
I've
mean,
lost it.
or
Yeah, no, it was something to do with one of his films, but
I
it's
guess
it's almost like he's like the lighter version of what's his name, um the guy who does everything dark, Nightmare Before Christmas,
oh Tim
Tim
Burton.
Tim Burton.
Mm.
He's like the light version of Tim Burton.
Yeah, yes, yep. Pretty good comparison.
Um,
Oh, that
yeah,
reminds
no,
me.
look,
Have you seen the? Did you watch Beetlejuice back in the day?
now he's one of the things I've tried to watch Beetlejuice.
Not
I
a fan.
couldn't get it though.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
Oh, I just didn't get it. I
yeah,
mean, oh, I didn't watch it all the way through, admittedly.
yeah.
But
Again, another one, a bit
but
weird,
I
but
it is, but it's one of those ones that I did see the second one coming.
yeah, that was
I
very
don't know how I'd
nostalgia heavy.
feel.
I'm looking forward to it.
Oh look, you know what? Maybe we should do a marathon and watch the first one together because I think I might get more enjoyment with you.
Mm.
But the look, as a Hispanic person, as a Latino person, I'm really happy that a lot of more Hispanic people are getting a lot of limelight and we're in a lot more movies now, and I think it's really cool.
Mm.
And you know, it's really because my culture is being represented. It's awesome. It's fantastic. I mean, anybody who I think has their culture represented can take that enjoyment.
Yeah,
But Jenna Ortega
mm.
as the you know
The new Winona Ryder.
quintessential goth girl. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's I don't know.
She looks good
It's
for
one of
that for
those.
me. Like she's got that deadpan sort of look on her face. I mean, that's all I've seen so far. There's not much in that trailer I can take from it,
Well,
but um,
to me, it's like it's like Michelle Rodriguez, right?
oh god,
Like,
yeah, don't get me started on
yeah,
her.
it's almost as if it's the same thing. It's like, all right, we need a badass chick who
Yeah,
kicks ass, who looks tough, and it's questionably lesbian but straight. Who are we gonna get? Michelle Rodriguez. now it's like we need a girl who's pale, gothic, skinny, deadpan, and sarcastic. Who are we gonna get?
She was in that
Jenna
Wednesday.
Ortega. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's Wednesday.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, well,
I mean,
I
and
haven't seen her
quirky.
act. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, that's the kind of the vibe they're going for, this gothic horror style. Well, not really
Which
horror, but it's
look, I think it's cool and respectable. I think she's probably going to do an amazing role. I think it's going to be a fantastic film, for the fans. But it's sort of like, again, like I said, bringing it all back to, I guess, the beginning. It's like Chris Pratt. I'm kind of getting sick of seeing Chris Pratt everywhere. Same with Jack Black. It's like one of the actors where you think to yourself, you've been typecast. I'd like to see you in something else. I don't know. I'm like for example, um, like the girl who did Daenerys. Jodie was a huge Game of Thrones fan, and she
Emilia
loved
Clarke.
Daenerys. Yeah, and she was, and I'm, again, not being a Game of Thrones fan, I'm like, okay, whatever. Yep, I get it. Everyone was like wetting themselves. Oh, Daenerys. And then I saw her, and I think it was, the Orient Express. Yeah. Oh, is it Murder on the Orient Express? Orient Express? I think is she on that? Or am I thinking of?
I saw her in she was in Solo. She's pretty good in that.
Oh no, it wasn't that movie I saw. I think I saw her in something else. Then I can't remember where I saw. But I saw her, and she was a really decent actress. No, but sorry, I'm confusing. Sorry, I'm confusing her for the other person, like Daisy Ridley from
Star
Star
Wars.
Wars.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like when I saw her, I was like, okay, she's whatever. But I really, and especially after the first Star Wars and then the second stuff, I was like, all right, I don't like you. You just blah. But when I saw her in The Orient Express, I really warmed up to her. I'm like, oh wow,
Yeah.
wow, she's actually really good at this. She's actually a really good actress.
Key difference there: shit script and shit direction in Star Wars versus something decent. She's a good actress.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on those Star Wars sequels.
Yeah, no, we're not going to go though.
No.
No, there's the same as you. I don't think we've got time for a 3-hour rant on.
Yeah, exactly.
The
Yeah,
Batman.
that'd be for another episode.
Exactly.
Or
the thing my boss said, the Batman, that new Batman film with Robert Pattinson.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, don't.
Yeah,
You're wasting your time. Don't.
I'm not really interested. Yeah.
Well, I watched it because it was like, all right, you know what, comic book nerd, comic book geek, I might as well watch it.
Yep.
Ugh, it was so bad, and yeah, look, again, I'm not gonna get into it. Otherwise, we'll be here for 3 hours more.
Yeah.
Discussing about my anger.
Speaking of, I'm starting to get a bit tired, so I might finish up here.
No, you're right.
But yeah, great catch up episode. I think I got through everything I wanted to. It was good to hear about Skul and whatnot, and a bit of back and forth on this, that, and the other. And I'm thinking maybe for the next episode we might do a review of the Summer Games Fest and the Xbox Showcase. But we'll if you're keen on that, we could do that maybe next weekend or whenever.
Absolutely. Let's give the listeners something a bit more structured. I say
Sounds
that.
Good.
Half of the thing.
I might even do it with the video playing. Maybe I'll hopefully like last episode I had to obviously remove the footage because of because of copyright strikes, and I'll do a little bit of research and see if we can do, because I see so many channels out there that do like react videos to it, so surely we'll be able to do that, because it'd be cool to have it up and we can do kind of like a frame by frame or a trailer by trailer sort of review.
Yeah, no, look, I'm more than happy to, and first impressions and then sort of
thoughts.
But I think it'd be really cool. I mean, and again, like the reality is, and we say this to all the listeners and fans out there, it's you're included in this conversation. It's just you, us, you consider yourselves, part of the in joke. And that's what we try and do here at this podcast, is just have an open conversation with all our listeners. So feel like you're part of the conversation with us when we're talking about all these other things, and let us know your thoughts on things that we've discussed, how you feel about certain movies, how you feel about certain games, if recommendations. We'll
hit us up.
More than happy to hear from you guys.
All right, well, thanks everyone for listening. We'll see you in the next episode.
See you in the next episode.
Bye.